What was you saying about Canelo? What was you saying about Terence Crawford, man?
The announcement of this fight has let people know, if they haven't known already, if they've been living under a fucking rock, it has let people know that Canelo Alvarez is not the face of boxing.
Damn.
When was the last time a Canelo Alvarez fight was bubbling like this? Was
Never.
was buzzing like this?
Never.
You know what I'm saying? Like maybe when he fought Danny Jacobs, maybe Terence Crawford's name is trending on Twitter. Terence Crawford,
Mm-hmm.
whose name barely trends when he has a fight,
Yep.
let alone promote a fight.
Yep.
His name was trending.
Yep.
Errol's name was trending. Crawford, Spence versus Crawford was trending,
Mm-hmm.
along with them being on ESPN. This is the first day of them promoting the fight. And it's everywhere.
Everywhere.
It's everywhere. Everybody's talking about it.
Yep.
This fight is gonna do numbers. This fight is gonna do numbers. This fight may get up in there, get up in that 1 million to 1.5 million range.
Damn.
Pay per view. It just
Damn.
might. And maybe the two where Floyd and Canelo for Floyd and Pacquiao was at, because I see there's people who are fooled just like they was fooled about Pacquiao. There's
Mm-hmm.
people out there who really believe Crawford is going to beat Errol Spence.
Yeah. Didn't Errol Spence in his last interview say this is gonna be a one-sided beatdown?
He said, "Don't be surprised if this is everybody expecting a good fight.
Yep.
Don't be surprised if this is a one sided ass kicking."
Yeah. So if a fighter says that, don't be surprised it's a one-sided ass kicking. I mean, it's very clear. And see, this is the thing. You could tell Errol Spence has the Kobe Bryant dichotomy because every fight he literally has to keep the foot on the neck. Every fight he has to apply unlimited pressure because he always have doubters, man. Now
Always.
basically saying he's not gonna win, but this is typical. We always hear this every fight with Errol Spence. This is what they did with Floyd. Every time Floyd fought, it was like, okay, this is the fight that Floyd is gonna lose. Because when you're a true alpha, man, they want you to lose, man. That's just the way the shit rolls.
They want you to lose. They want you to lose because the system doesn't function unless the black male alpha is the scapegoat.
Facts.
Those who AQS could be on the bottom of the white man society. The
Yep.
black male scapegoat has to be on the outside of it.
Facts.
Has to be on the outside, not even on the bottom of the shoe is the sellout.
Yep.
On the outside of the gate, they want to keep the black male alpha. So this is the reason why they're always going against Floyd, Errol Spence, Muhammad Ali, Jack Johnson, Malcolm, and like anybody who bucks the system and doesn't just accept things for the way they are, they have to go against them. They have to go against them, and that kind of separates what type of black man you are too.
Yep.
Like when you find yourself saying nobody likes this guy, I'm rocking with this guy. You're basically saying you care that much about being validated by the system that you're rocking with a system that doesn't consider you just because you don't want to be on the outskirts of it.
Facts.
So you're saying I'd rather be on the bottom than be an outsider. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you call mind control and brainwashing 1-on-1.
Yep. There's a scientific term for that shit. They call it neuro-linguistic programming. And see, this is the thing. Instantly, when you start talking about the dominance of Spence, and you start talking about how basically dominating and standing up of a fighter that Errol Spence is, you're going to get two types of people. You're going to get people that are diametrically opposed to that. And the reason why they're diametrically opposed to it and they have to talk trash against it is because naturally they are not like that. They are
Right.
what you call the recessive trait. This is why they go with the Terence Crawfords of the world, because Terence Crawford is a recessive trait. Recessive means weak. Then
Right.
you have the dominant trait, which represents dominance. And the thing is, you have to root for Terence Crawford because Terence Crawford represents recessive. So if he's recessive, that means you're recessive. So what you find is a bunch of, like we got out, you find a bunch of cockroaches. You find them scattering everywhere, and they come in and say fish fry. They always come in and say stupid shit. They always got the dumbest fucking terms ever. What the fuck is fish fry?
Right.
Doesn't even sound right. How can you correlate fish fry with a shark? When you say fish fry, you're thinking of tilapia. When you
Right.
say fish fry,
Catfish.
you're thinking of catfish. When you say fish fry, you're thinking of fucking scallops and shit like that. You're thinking of basically shrimp tempura. You're thinking these types of things.
Right.
Snapper. These types of things. You don't think of a damn shark. Who fish fries a fucking shark? This is why I say people say the
Right.
dumbest shit, and a lot of times they don't even understand what they're saying.
That's right, man. That's right. But at the end of the day, you have people who want to see a good fight, even if their fighter loses, they want to see a competitive fight. You
Yep.
have some people who, no matter what happens, if their fighter doesn't win, they will complain about the fight and trying to ruin the fight by claiming a robbery or saying somebody was past their prime. All of these are the things that this media has used to. If you go and you look at
Hold that thought, because I want to say this, because Terence Crawford, they're already saying that. I've already read, and I could tell you there's boxing news. There's a lot of these different types of forums that said Terence Crawford and Errol Spence is happening a bit late. Not as late as Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. They were over the hill, but Terence Crawford and Errol Spence is happening just a little bit outside their prime. So what they're doing from a neurolinguistic programming, to speak to what Ross said, I'm about to pass the mic to him, is they're basically trying to say that Terence Crawford is a little bit over the hill. So once he gets full fucking dose, they're gonna say that he was too old.
but the problem with that is Bud Crawford was the one who held up the fight.
Yep.
So if that is true, I think they're around the same age.
He's
So
34. He's 34 and Earl's 32.
they're 2 years. There's 2 years difference. And when you're 34, 32, you're still in your prime.
That don't mean shit.
34, 32, still in your prime. 35, 35, you might be out of the prime depending on how you take care of yourself.
Yep.
36, 30, 36, 37, you out of your prime. It all depends how you take care of yourself. But these guys are near the same age.
Mm-hmm.
And Crawford could have been made this fight happen, but Crawford did not help the collection of the belts.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't help with the collection of the belts. He got his he got his WBO belt, and he did nothing else.
Facts. 30. People forgot Mayweather was older than Pac-Man. Facts. Mayweather was damn near 3 years older than Pac-Man. People forgot that shit.
When people, yeah, I forgot what I was going to say.
No, you said when people.
Yeah, when people start saying and throwing around the who's out of their prime, who's this, who that, and it don't make sense, it's because that's the only way they can accept reality if they make an excuse for reality.
Facts.
And when you look deep into what they're saying, they're delusional a bit, and they're being manipulative. I use LeBron James fans as an example. On one hand, they say nobody's doing what LeBron James does at 38 years old. He's the greatest player to ever live to be 38. And then whenever LeBron James has a bad game, they said, man, well, he's only 38. He's 38 years old. He's out of his prime.
Yep.
What do you expect?
Yep.
He's 38.
Yep.
You can't, and you can't have it both ways.
Facts.
Only a manipulative person could think. They could say that and say that. in the same breath. You
Yep.
can't say he's the greatest player to ever live at 38 years old, and then say on the other hand, when he fuck up, he's out of his prime.
Exactly.
Because which one is it? You always got to go one way. Two things can be true, but two completely opposite things cannot be true about the same thing. Two things can be true about the same thing. Two completely opposite things that diametrically oppose each other cannot be true. So that's what Bud Crawford fans do. That's what they'll do. If Bud wins, they won't bring up nothing about out of their prime. That won't even be brought up. If Bud loses, that you got some fans and you got some TV channels that will be happy to make an excuse because they hate when the PBC fighter wins.
Exactly.
They hate that. After that, they hate when a black fighter wins. So you will notice certain bona fide, certain syndicated sports news outlets will help make the excuses that non-black people need to try to ruin the fight.
Facts.
Sometimes they're the ones coming up with the narrative.
Yep.
And giving it to them.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, we've walked this line before. We walked this plank before. At this point, we should not be even getting upset about what mainstream media says about certain players. You should start seeing the pattern. You should start seeing the pattern. Andre Ward, they did it too. Floyd, they doing it to Lamar Jackson in football, right? They doing it to who? Kawhi Leonard. Certain people they don't make look like weirdos no matter what they did. They ain't make Tim Duncan like a weirdo. Tim Duncan didn't have that much emotion either on the court. They bigged up Tim Duncan, but they say they try to make that Kawhi Leonard is a weirdo because he don't act like everybody else. KD, anybody who don't get with the program, who don't say what these white people want you to say, there's always an issue with them. And our people are none of wiser. We just jump on each other's backs and we laugh at everything. We don't never see the patterns.
Yeah.
We don't never get the patterns.
And I want to say this, man, because I think it's very important. With this fight, people need to stop the dumb shit. And when I say stop the dumb shit, what was in the past was in the past. You need to look at the fight for what it is based on the reality of what it is. Because if you go off of the past, you're going to put yourself in a trajectory where your mind is going to be skewed. And what I'm trying to say with this is, I don't want to hear nothing. If Errol Spence loses, I'll be the first one to sit here and tell y'all, look, he lost fair and square. Errol Spence does what he's supposed to, like we expect for Errol Spence to do it. I'm going to be the first one to tell y'all, I fucking told you. So bottom line is, I don't want to hear no Blu-ray shit. That's why I'm saying these things. I don't want to hear none of this past shit. Y'all need to look at these fighters for what they are, present in present time. Because the whole myth with Blu-ray got exposed in the Eudenis Ugas fight, because Eudenis Ugas was the best opponent that Errol Spence fought to date outside of Kell Brook.
Right.
And we saw what he did to Eudenis Ugas. Eudenis Ugas damn near took 1.5 years to recover. Shit, he took longer to recover than Kell Brook. We saw what the fuck happened. So we know that Blu-ray myth has been exposed. Big time. So I don't want to hear about no past motherfuckers. I want to hear about no past shit. I want you guys to focus on the situation that's in front of you, because here's the thing. You guys, a lot of you fans are not strong-minded as much as it is. So I'm trying to help y'all. See, this is not a conversation for Ross. This is actually going over Ross's head, because Ross is basically concrete in his resolve. So to him, it's like, okay, he's already preaching to the choir. This is for you motherfuckers that go back and forth and are fickle in your brain.
Right.
That any little thing can steer you off. Oh, yeah, man. That's why, Errol Spence. You need to focus. You need to lock in. If you're going to pick somebody, root for that person off of the strength of what's present in front of you. Because if you start looking at all of these past intangibles and all of this other bullshit, you're going to lose sight of enjoying the moment for what it is.
Right.
It's just like Terence Crawford. I don't want to hear no excuse about you. No, you wasn't. It wasn't because you wasn't with Bob Arum, or it's because Snack fucked you up. I don't want to hear none of that shit, man. Whatever's in front of you, you both fighters have 2.5 months. They have more than enough time to prep. They have more than enough time to get their ass ready. They got their full 9 weeks. So no fucking excuses. All we want is for them to show up at the T-Mobile Arena, do the fucking damn thing. Errol Spence, I expect him to basically put Terence Crawford on a stretcher. But if that does not happen, then Terence Crawford is exactly who he's been saying that he was.
Yeah.
But if we're looking at the trajectory of everything, and we're looking at the fact that Terence Crawford already went to the Hall of Fame, so he was giving you a prelude of basically, I am getting retired. Because a lot of times when guys show you things that are going to happen, or the unraveling of things that's going to happen before it happens, it's a prelude to give you in your mind, this is what's going to happen to them. So it wasn't a coincidence that Terence Crawford was at the Hall of Fame. Terence Crawford was already mumming through his head after the Dennis Ugas fight. This guy's going to properly bulldoze me. This guy's going to properly punish me. This guy's properly going to stop me. So I got to be in a Hall of Fame right now. I have to be thinking about retirement. And when he got into the ambiance of the retirement, this is when it became full circle for him. When he looked at James Toney and he realized that could have been his fucking self.
Mm-hmm.
That is the problem. And see, here's the problem again. Once again, motherfuckers are veering off. Errol Spence, what do you think of the long layoff? Terence Crawford had a long layoff. It's the same shit for both fighters, man. Both fighters are rusty. And both fighters are going to get in shape and fight. If you haven't been fighting for damn near over a year and a half, it's going to be what it's going to be. You got to work some ring rust off. But they both are in that same predicament. Once again, y'all not listening. I'm trying to help y'all.
That's what
y'all veering off again, focusing on dumb shit. Because the bottom line is both fighters have situations linear for them. So there's no excuses. What you guys need to focus on is if you're a Spence fan, root for Spence for the reasons why you like Spence. If you're a Terence Crawford fan, root for Terence Crawford for the reasons why you like Terence Crawford. I'm telling you, y'all motherfuckers start getting into these intangibles and start getting into these negativities, you're not going to enjoy the moment. Because boxing has given you guys a superstar fight moment. You need to be taking in the whole ambiance of it and stop falling for the dumb shit. And that's all I got to say on that, man.
That's what training camp is for. Like, nobody goes to the training camp boxing sharp. You work your way up to that.
Facts.
That's what that's for. Russ, the great ones perform, right? Like, there is no I was rusty. The great ones perform, and they don't need excuse being made for them. They don't need the fans making excuses. They come up short. They come up short. The great ones perform. There is no ring rust. That's LeBron James fan club shit. That's Canelo, right? Floyd didn't fight me. Floyd needs to fight me now. He could have beat me now. Not looking at the fact that he had the actual advantages against Floyd. Size, strength, and age. Still lost. You know what I'm saying?
You know, when you have a baby bib in your damn mouth, you have no reason to say, I wonder what y'all gonna do when Crawford stops Spence. See, these are the types of motherfuckers that are Terence Crawford's fans. Guys that have fucking what they call them shits when babies suck on them things in their mouth.
A pacifier.
Pacifier. When you have a pacifier in your mouth, you have no reason to be talking about when Crawford stops Spence. These are the Terence Crawford fans. And y'all sitting here believing or being doubted by these guys. If I see a profile that looks like this, I'm laughing at this shit.
Right. I don't think Crawford has the power to stop Errol Spence.
Mm-hmm.
Crawford has been stopping the bottom of the barrel or washed up welterweight since he's been since he's been in the welterweight division, or it's been just straight out rigged fights. Like when he fought Sean Porter, those punches weren't even landing. Like the so-called flurry he hit Sean Porter with to knock him down, that punch wasn't a flush shot like when Errol Spence dropped Crawford. Those punches were hitting the shoulder blades, and he was pushing them down. The ref standing right there, allowing that to happen. And you know what I mean? Like the whole fight was rigged. And only somebody only somebody who has the penchant to go into their imagination and not deal with the reality at hand. Like some people deal with reality by creating a figment of reality in their mind. Where they're perfect, where they fuck all the bitches, where blase, where their favorite fighter always wins no matter what. And this is the reality they choose to live in because the actual reality of the world is a bit too harsh for them. It's a bit too edgy for them.
Yep.
And that's the brain, that's the psyche taking care of itself by creating that little world where everything is perfect for you.
Exactly.
And a lot of people, they go to that world where they go to sleep, but they don't live in that world. Some people actually live in that world.
Yep.
To where if Errol Spence stops Bud, there will be an excuse. If Errol Spence outpoints Bud, there will be an excuse. There will always be an excuse for these people because they can't accept the reality for what it is.
And I'm glad you said that because here's the thing. Here's the facts of what we know. And Ross is so eloquent and always breaking that down. We always got to go by what these guys do in the ring. Well, let me give you guys how many punches these guys throw per round. And this is how you know Errol Spence is going to wash Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is like a black Loma. He's a fucking slow starter.
Right.
And on top of that, Terence Crawford throws 30 punches a round. Well, let me give you the number Errol Spence throws. Errol Spence throws over 70 punches a round. Last time I checked, when I do the math, that's 2.5 times the number of punches. And what's scary about that is not only is Errol Spence throwing 2.5 times the number of punches per round, but he's throwing them with thudding power. He's throwing them with mean intentions. So if someone is throwing 2.5 times the punches you're throwing, meaning he's punching in between your punches, but he's throwing every punch with power. He's throwing every punch with a mean intention. What the fuck you think is going to happen? How do you think Errol Spence's opponents systematically get broken down, systematically get punished, systematically from round after round get washed? It's because of the activity rate. And Terence Crawford is not going to change the fighter he is because he's 34. There's no changing that. And it'll be counterproductive for Terence Crawford to change it because when it's all said and done, if Terence Crawford changes basically his punching output, then bottom line is Terence Crawford would be feeding into Errol Spence's hands, meaning Errol Spence is going to knock him out quicker. Either way, Terence Crawford is going to feel the brunt of Errol Spence's punches. And we know Terence Crawford has been folded by smaller opponents. When you got Mean Machine that dropped you, and Mean Machine basically copied Errol Spence's style, but he did it in a very Aki way. And he dropped Terence Crawford. He just didn't have Errol Spence's motor. He didn't have Errol Spence's power. And he wasn't Errol Spence. Let's just keep it a buck. And this is a guy who was off a year. This is the problem with Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford has a tendency to fight fighters that have something going on in the background that nobody talks about. And they take him to the distance. Do you know when he fought Gamboa was going through a domestic violence situation, and Gamboa made him do the fucking stanky leg. When he fought Mean Machine was off for a fucking year. When he fought, what's that dude's name? What was his name? Postel or whatever the fuck his name is. I don't give a fuck because that's how much I don't care about Terence Crawford fighters. This dude was off for damn near 8 months. When he fought Ndongo was dealing with some shit going back in his country. You guys have to always trace. Terence Crawford be catching these motherfuckers at the right time. When he fought Sean Porter was training from his home with his baby in his hand. Who trains with your baby in your hand and then you punch in the mitt with another? Do you guys not see that this was a paid to lose? Do you guys not see that this was a nosedive? Who's winning every round, but then all of a sudden, yeah, let me look Bob Arum's way. Oh yeah, Bob Arum, I'm supposed to lose. Kell Brook did it. Sean Porter did it. And when he fought these guys after Errol Spence damaged them. But you guys are sipping this bullshit tea because you hate Errol Spence. It's not even they're rooting for Terence Crawford. They hate Errol Spence. They did this with Garcia.
They hate black confidence.
They did this shit with Mikey Garcia. They did this shit with Sean Porter. They did this shit with They did this shit with Lamont Peterson. They did this shit with I could keep on going. They did this shit with Kell Brook. Every time Errol Spence fights an opponent, instead of going with the obvious guy that you know is the more dominating guy, the stronger guy, because even Sean Porter, when they asked who thumps harder, he said Errol Spence. Even to go with the guy that you know in the back of your mind is gonna give the other guy more problems, you want to go with the recessive guy. You want to know why you do that? Because it speaks to your personality. If your personality is of insecurity, your personality is of misery, your personality is recessive, you're gonna fall for the recessive person. It is what it is.
They're betas, and a beta's in a pride, or a beta's in a, I forget what they call chimpanzees. Is it a troop? A beta in a system is always rooting against the alpha.
Yep.
The other alpha is either actively competing with the alpha or is being groomed by the alpha. One or the other. But it's not sitting back hoping the alpha loses. You know what I mean? Now, to make things clear, just because you choose Bud Crawford doesn't mean you're a beta. You just might be a fan of the guy that wish the best for him. It's not what you do, it's how you do it.
Facts.
This is what I was taught by my OGs in the street. It's not what you do. I'm from the west side of Chicago. It's not that you getting a reputation. It's not that you getting money. It's not that you're doing this. It's the who, the what, the when, the why. Is how you do it, and it's why you doing what you're doing. That's gonna be impressive, and build you a aura of integrity, right? So, with ESPN, with ESPN and with Tom Rank, they're a company that lacks integrity. With all their fighters, not even just with Bud. I know we're speaking on Bud, but Bud is part of the conglomerate. He's not the deciding factor. Bud is smart enough to even know how to duck fighters like this. You have Bob Arum, who's built a career on putting his fighters against the right names at the worst opportune times. Even when he fought Floyd, he tried to wait till Floyd was 38 years old.
Yep.
When Floyd was trying to fight Manny 6 years prior to that.
Yep.
Popular contrary belief, it was Manny and Bob that was trying to wait out Floyd. Floyd's the one with the brittle hands. Floyd's the one that's older.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody, they made Pacquiao fight. They made him fight at the worst opportune times. And with the worst disadvantages. With Cotto fight Manny, Cotto comes all the way down to 147 when he's been fighting at 154 the whole 2 years.
Drained.
But Floyd went up to fight Cotto.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
When we know Manny Pacquiao, hasn't Manny Pacquiao fought at 154 before?
Yeah, he fought at 150 something against flat-footed Margarito.
So why couldn't he do that with Miguel Cotto?
Because Miguel Cotto can really fight, and Miguel Cotto don't need plaster in his gloves.
So really basically, he would have got exposed. He would have got exposed.
He would have got exposed a long time ago if he would have fought Cotto. He would have lost against Cotto, to be honest.
Yep.
At 154, he wouldn't have had the thumping power to stop Cotto. Floyd hit Cotto with a perfect shot in round 11, and he was temporarily stunned and recovered like this.
Yep.
And Manny don't throw perfect shots. He just throw very hard shots that you see coming, and you get hit because you're tired.
Yep.
You're drained and you're tired. You get hit by
Yep.
Manny. Manny throws straight punches. All you gotta do is just shell up, and you'll block everything. The Floyd,
or like Floyd, you just being reckless.
Yeah,
Like Floyd Senior had to tell Floyd, why you being reckless?
Oh yeah, he caught him punching in between the punch, but that's one time in the whole fight. These guys supposed to be on the same level. He supposed to have that. He supposed to hit Floyd with that punch 20, 30 times. He only hit Floyd once. His father is just a real trainer. If you make a mistake, he will exaggerate the mistake.
And I'm glad his father trained him that way, because what it did, it reined Floyd in to realize they're gonna try to rob you with this Manny shit, because they're gonna over dramatize Manny's flurries, even though they don't mean nothing. So I'm glad he over dramatized it, because it made Floyd just box his ass up for 12 rounds.
Right. Because this is what his father did.
Floyd never said Earl was straight up and down, no special effects. He said Triple G.
Triple G was
straight up and down, no special effects. No special effects. Where you getting your bullshit from?
You
called Errol Spence the truth. He called him the truth.
You gotta understand, some people come to your live stream just to be acknowledged. So they'll say the most flamboyant thing. Hoping you abandon your whole thing you have laid out to go after them. So that's why some people are better yet ignored, or you address them, you know what I'm saying, without saying their name, or look like you're addressing them like directly. Like some people, they just come on here just to say anything for it. Hey, give me attention, please, please. So they say the dumbest things in the world, knowing that might get your attention. But when it comes down to this, Floyd has a healthy respect for Errol Spence. Floyd's the one who put Errol Spence on the map, and he went out his way to say, "This is the new guy, this is the next guy." Blah 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 blah. He rarely does that, unless he has control of your career and he's promoting you as his job. But he rarely does that just to a random fighter. It's kind of like Michael Jordan grabbing up Kobe and being like, "Hey, this is gonna be the next guy." He ain't had to do that.
Well, Floyd believed in Errol Spence so much, he basically told Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, and Danny Garcia, when they were the more mainstream names, if you want to fight me, you got to get through this guy. Exactly. If you can get through him, fight me.
Exactly.
And they all ducked Errol Spence. They all ducked him.
They ducked him and had to come back, and they needed him on the back end. They had to come back and get the fights.
Yep. The only reason why Errol Spence didn't say to Danny Garcia and to Sean Porter, like he did to Keith Thurman, what goes around comes around, or basically you pulled that bullshit, I'm gonna pull that bullshit right back, is Danny Garcia did not withhold and deny him multiple times. Sean Porter did not withhold and deny him multiple times. Keith Thurman denied him multiple times. But if those guys would have denied Errol Spence because of Errol Spence's integrity or whatever, he probably would have done the same shit with Sean Porter and Danny Garcia.
What happened?
He would have had 2 less fights, but he would have done that same shit.
The reason why I knew what was happening to Errol Spence is because it used to happen to me. I love my foster brother to death. He gave me my first. That's my brother. He gave me my first tattoo. Blase, blase. We did a lot of things first. You know what I'm saying? But there became a time where he started being envious toward me, and I used to knock down everything in the church. Everything in our church. I was the pastor's son. Played drums. I used to fuck everything, man. And because I understood girls faster than I understood when a girl wanted me like that. And I knew how to play on that. They didn't. They were still feeling themselves out. So it got to the point where some of the guys, they'll get together, supposed to be meeting with girls and shit. And they'll be like, she said she didn't want you to come, or hey man, this is a mission for us, this, that, and the third. So they were trying to exclude me out of shit when I didn't hang with church guys no way outside the church anyway. Outside the church, I hung with niggas in the street, so I didn't really care like that. So I realized that they were meeting up with these girls, but their conversation was about me. And the girls, oh, I don't really like him, but really they like me and shit. But they were just telling them that because it was betas. That's what betas wanted to hear. Because when I finally was invited by one of the girls, I ended up smashing the girl the same day. Smashing the next girl, smashing the same day. Whenever we hung out, it was me meeting these girls and smashing the same day. So they were keeping Errol Spence out the loop because they knew once he got in, he was going to take over.
Facts.
Just because he was that naturally. So like he's going to take over. So they're trying to hold him off as long as possible. And a lot of people don't realize when it comes to Mikey Garcia, it's the reason why Mikey Garcia his career has been ended. It's the reason why he talks the way he talks like that. His own brother said he should have stopped the fight in the 7th, no later than the 8th round.
Yep.
That fight was a stoppage. And Spence wasn't even going hard. He was weight drained because he wasn't taking his career seriously, and he won every round in that fight, pummeling Mikey Garcia. And Mikey Garcia had to basically survive the whole fight. And just
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I was feeling sorry for Mikey Garcia because I remember where I was at when the fight was happening, and I remember my friend saying, "Man, are they gonna stop this fight?" He kept saying it. You know, he kept saying this shit from round 3 and up. He was like, "Man, this is like a sparring match. Are they gonna stop this fight? Like, it's embarrassing." I didn't pay. He's like, I didn't pay $80 to watch Errol Spence just toy with a fighter. So if you were really a boxing connoisseur, when you sit here and say that Errol Spence couldn't stop Mikey Garcia, you clearly reveal yourself as a casual because you didn't understand the virtuoso, the masterpiece performance this guy was putting on from a boxing standpoint. Like you were watching a guy painting a Picasso picture, dominating. If you really look at the fight, it was Floyd Mayweather. That's why Floyd wanted him to box, because Floyd was like, man, you are fighting the way I'm fighting, and that's typically not how you fight. And you giving my level of performance, and you just dominating the fighter. It was one-sided. So all of the people that reveal themselves and say he couldn't stop Mikey Garcia because Mikey Garcia was too small and this and that, you're revealing yourself as someone that really does not understand boxing. What you like is brawling. You like to see two pinatas stand in front of each other and beat the shit out of each other. You don't like to see people slipping punches. You don't like to see hit and don't get hit, because you're the first motherfucker that's going to say that's called running away. Don't you notice when Canelo Alvarez gets embarrassed, even in the Dimitri Bivol fight, he kept saying, "Why are you running?" He kept going like this to Dimitri, "Come." Because when it's all said and done, people revert to their familiar ways. Familiarity breeds complacency. And when Canelo was getting exposed by Dimitri Bivol, he couldn't help but to reveal his flat-footed ways, his non-head moving ways, his lack of boxing ability ways.
Yeah. So when it comes to the Mikey Garcia shit, people have to understand Mikey Garcia was fighting to survive. It's hard to knock out a fighter who's just saying, I just want to make it to the end. Right. You know what I'm saying? If you're trying to survive, you will survive for the most part, right? It's fetal position. There's people who have survived being beat by 20 to 30 people because they put themselves in a fetal position and protect the majority of their main organs, so in their head. So they're still here to tell the story to this day. They never get stomped out and shit. So you can survive. That's what your body's made for, just to protect yourself with your arms, duck your head down, your chin, protect your head. You can survive, but you can't win that way. Exactly. The caveat to what Floyd told Errol Spence was, everybody knows if you really want to, you could pummel this guy, knock him out, but you don't really get credit if you knock him out. Box him up. Just keep boxing him. Keep boxing him. He got nothing for you. Just keep boxing him. And then what Errol Spence ended up proving was how good of a boxer he was, because apparently Mikey Garcia had all this boxing IQ and was a pound for pound guy that moved up a weight class to fight Errol, which happens a lot. That's how Floyd Mayweather made his name. moving up, fighting the best guy when he moves up, and beating him right away.
Yep.
That's how Floyd made his name. This guy moves up, wanted to fight the best guy, and it got brutalized.
And there's only two guys that copied that blueprint: Errol Spence and Andre Ward Pryor. That's why you saw Andre Ward seeked out Kovalev as soon as he moved up to 175.
Right. And that's the thing. With Errol being weight drained, with him doing more boxing than what he normally does, he accidentally ended Mikey Garcia's career.
Yep.
And his brother said as much as I should have stopped that fight in the 7th to 8th round. But he wanted to keep going.
Yep.
This is the reason why men have to stay away from pride. When we have our purpose in front of us, we're doing our purpose. You're gonna have some type of pride sometimes. Sometimes you gotta be like, damn, that person is right. But when you have your purpose, right, that you're focused on, you cannot be dealing with pride and emotions.
Mm-hmm.
In that fight, they didn't want to AQS because they said Spence won't be able to stop Mikey. They came in there with one goal, just to survive to 12 rounds so they could say they lasted. Some people some people plan to take moral victories.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people don't understand. There's very few alpha dogs, Sigma, lone wolves who just want to win. And if they don't win, they lost. And if they lost, that means I need to do more push-ups. That means I need to do more sit-ups. I need to run more. If you do the bike like me, I need to do more miles on the bike because I'm not getting it done. Some people they anticipate losing.
Yep.
They anticipate the fallout from losing, and they anticipate the rumors they're gonna have to make if they lose.
Facts.
Some people actually live their life that way. Or I lost it. I ain't play hard. You was playing hard than me. That's why you was going hard.
Yep.
People who made that excuse in life, they lack something here. Because you're supposed to always be playing hard.
Facts.
Unless you're playing against little children that you might injure if you play hard. But somebody able-bodied, you're supposed to always go your hardest.
Yep.
There's no excuse for lack of effort. People with no fathers think there's an excuse for lack of effort, for not giving your best all the time.
Yep.
Or knowing you didn't give your best and actually saying it. Even if you knew you came out, you was hungover from the last night. When you lose, you don't say it's because I was hungover. You say, good game, man. You got me.
Yep.
And in your mind, you know, okay, if I wasn't hungover, in my mind.
Go ahead and ride. I'm going to get me some coffee real quick. Ride on them.
Right. In my mind, I know that I would have been good, but I'm not going to say it because I have too much pride to make that excuse. This generation, due to look it up to this generation of stars, they anticipating losing. And the exact tweet they're going to say if they lose, they rather control the narrative than do the work. And that's what you hear. That's what you hear when there was like, we last 12 with a big fighter like Spence. Did you really last 12? Because after the 5th round, you stopped trying to fight. After the 5th round, Mikey Garcia wasn't even trying to fight anymore. Who does that to themselves? Who does that to themselves? Because it's better you fight and you get stopped than for you to take a beating for 12 rounds straight. The type of beating that Errol Spence was putting on Mikey, I looked over at somebody at the bar. I said, this dude's career will never be the same again after this. That was on the level of the Floyd Arturo Gotti. I believe Floyd was getting in more flusher punches, but after a while of being shelled up like this and just taking punches, that accumulates. You don't necessarily got to get hit a nigga flush. If his gloves tight to his face and you punching the hell out of his gloves, he's still getting beat. You know what I'm saying? He's still getting beat at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it's like once you move up to fight a fighter bigger than you, you have foregone you have foregone and you forfeit any excuse. Because there's people at your weight class you can fight. So you can't make an excuse that they were bigger than you, that you wasn't ready for the weight class, because you shouldn't be there if you're not ready. And you shouldn't be flat-footed fighting somebody smaller than you, somebody bigger than you. How are you the most flat-footed person in the ring if the guy you fight is naturally bigger than you? That means you was never like that. And here's the thing that people don't want, they don't want to make the excuses for. Errol Spence, they won't give him the full credit, but they won't tell the truth that a lot of fighters that they look up to just ain't like that. They're really not as good as you think they are. Canelo Alvarez really isn't that good when he's in there with a real boxer. It's the reason why he avoids black fighters. He avoids black prime fighters, and Benavidez he pretty much considers black because there's black Mexicans. And look at Benavidez's face; he don't look like no regular Mexican, and he don't like no Spaniard. He look black. So he Canelo's avoided Benavidez. He's avoiding Andre. He won't call out. He won't call out Andre Ward, but he's calling out an old, smaller Floyd. And Canelo fights at 175 pounds now. He'll avoid any real smoke if it comes to a black skilled fighter. Ever since Larry Lara, the Cuban guy, Canelo ain't fought no skilled fighter since then. Not no skilled and athletic fighter. They might be athletic, but they won't be skilled.
Yep.
They might be skilled, but they might be slow and not athletic. Since Larry Lara, he has not fought nobody like that, and he lost that fight. Let's be 100. That was a robbery. That was a robbery. Laura, he probably not even the type that even take this moral victory. But Laura could go to the bar, have a drink, and say, "Man, y'all know I whooped Canelo," and people
and,
like,
and he protested that one. He actually said and screamed it out loud. But look at Laura though. Laura looked like me, and Laura looked like Ross. They was not going to give Laura that win because you got to understand, Canelo was already still fresh, and he cannot lose being fresh that young like that. See, now they don't give a fuck about Canelo because Canelo's career is already taking its toll. But even in this last fight, he got exposed. John Ryder exposed him, a tune-up fighter. He said he was supposed to stop me. Couldn't even do that. Like, who clowns a guy who's supposed to have a namesake? When have you ever seen this before? You know what this is representative of? The face you saw with LeBron James when LeBron James lost to the Denver Nuggets and basically was like, okay, I'm defeated. I need to retire. Right. See, I love when it's the person you least expect that beats these people because it's basically God's way of smiling back and basically doing what we call if you thought you was going to get away, I'm going to make the person you least expect to embarrass you be the one to embarrass you. This is where it goes to the scriptures where it says God is no respecter of persons. Right. So the person you least expect to humble you is going to be the person that humbles you because you've been running away from the person who was supposed to humble you. Jamal Charlo was supposed to humble Canelo Alvarez. Do you guys understand why Jamal Charlo is dealing with mental health issues? He's dealing with mental health issues because of the fact that boxing fans don't realize that it was supposed to be his fist that was supposed to expose Canelo. Right. So because his fist couldn't do it, he's the most deserving of it. And then I would say David Benavidez after him. Well, if I have to order it, I'm going to say him first. Then I'm going to say Boo Boo, Demetrius Andrade, and then I'm going to say David Benavidez if I'm going to put the order of it. Right, since their hands was basically not the hands that exposed Canelo, Canelo gets exposed by the cherry that he thought was a cherry at 175. And it was a perfect fight because what you guys saw was when Canelo was getting constantly tagged by Dimitri Bivol, Canelo reverted into what beta males revert to when they get embarrassed. Fuck it. If I'm not going to win, I'm going to try to just go out of my element. Right. And I'm going to just try to hurt the guy. He tried to pick the guy up and wrestle him. This is not wrestling. This is boxing, dude. Right. You're getting tagged so much in the face that you're so mad that you have to pick the dude up. I was laughing my ass off.
Right.
And this is why you have channels. Remember, it's called Keep the Foot on the Necks. So part of keeping the foot on the necks, Ross reminded me that. Part of keeping the foot on the neck. See, y'all understand. Ross is like my coach. Part of keeping the foot on the necks is I got to keep the foot on the necks of channels.
Right.
This is why Monty Brown stalled. I told y'all what was going to happen to Monty Brown. Me and Ross told Monty Brown, we helped him. We screwed that motherfucker. We told him, we said, look here, bro. And we don't hate him. He's still our brother. But we said, come out with the public proclamation. Because if he would have came out with a public proclamation, this motherfucker wouldn't have been stuck in the 50s. It's like he's doing the same work that he was doing when he was just talking about Errol Spence when he was at 5 and 6 and 7. He's doing the same work again in the 50s. Because you know what happened?
Canelo lost.
Canelo lost. The cooning and buffooning for Canelo, the capping for Canelo, we said was going to fuck him up. It fucked them up. You got to understand, when you have two visionaries that see the landscape before it is what it is, tell you this is what it's going to be, you might want to get the earwax out. You might want to just go like this to your ears, and you might want to motherfucking listen. But if you don't do that, then when the actual forecast ends up happening to you, we can't sit here and laugh at you because we already told you what was going to happen. We told you what was going to happen to Barbershop's conversation. We said, stay away from talking shit about Floyd. Stay away from talking shit about Al Haymon. Look at him. He's a pariah now.
Yeah.
A fucking pariah that's not respected. That's going deeper and deeper into the hole. We told you guys about IBFP. We told you IBFP was going to feel a sting. But see, IBFP was saved by Monty Brown. I'm going to tell you why he was saved by Monty Brown. Honestly, it was supposed to be IBFP that was supposed to take the hit, the full hit.
Yep.
Monty Brown comes in like Captain Save a nigga.
It was going crazy.
IBFP.
And I ain't gonna lie, he was running it up. He was running up the score. But let me tell you something about this. When you have a platform and you're giving your opinion all the time on how you think things are, you have to understand everything you say. These people remember.
Yes,
these motherfuckers, they remember everything you say, whether they agree, whether they disagree. they also remember your rationale behind the shit.
Yep.
So when you go too far, they're gonna remind you. Remember you said this. Remember you said that. This is the reason why you can never be a fan of a person so much to where you can't hold them accountable when need to be held accountable.
And they disrespect, and he disrespect niggas. He was actually disrespecting, blocking niggas, blocking moderators that was on your channel. Do you understand that's a death? It's like when Jay-Z said the death of auto-tune, that's the death of your fucking channel. Yeah. You're basically telling your moderators, your people that roll with you, shut the fuck up. I'm going to keep talking about Canelo. Not only are you basically saying you got this motherfucker's dick in your mouth, you saying you gargling the fucking balls too.
Some people don't,
like, it's bad.
Some people don't understand economics and macroeconomics, right? They don't. If you have a formula and you go against that formula, and a big enough percentage that can affect your bottom line is saying to go back, you have to go back.
Yeah.
Or else you'll lose your market. Because the market kind of, you're a boss, right? But the market does kind of dictate what you present.
Exactly.
Everything on my channel is strategic. It's based around what my people want on my channel, but it's done in my way. But I would have no channel, and I want to be growing as fast as I'm growing. But at the end of the day, I want to be growing as fast if I wasn't paying attention to what my core fan base wants. Yeah. I just do it my way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I still give them what they want because you will lose your market. Anybody with common sense, you don't have to even have a macroeconomics credits to your name like I do. You don't need that. If you have basic common sense, you know if you want to please the people who support you, that you have to give them what they want when they're begging for it unanimously, right?
Exactly.
Let's say you got 10 subscribers, that's it. You got 9 motherfuckers saying, man, we want this shit here.
Mm-hmm.
and you don't do it, you're basically asking to fail. You have to do it.
You have to.
You have to do it. And
It's like Ross. Ross has to separate. It don't matter what Ross does. The mission statement for Ross is he has to separate the weak from the strong. If he ever goes against that, I'm gonna go upside his head. That's his mission statement.
that's
You never go against your fucking mission statement. My mission statement is keep the foot on the neck. That means at some point I gotta keep the foot on somebody's neck on YouTube. I gotta keep the foot on the neck on some fucking video. At some point, I gotta keep the foot on the fucking necks.
he knows. Let me push this out real quick because whenever I say this, you always repeat verbatim the Bible scripture that goes with it because you know this shit by heart. The reason why I say keep the foot on the necks is because he said keep the foot on the necks. The reason why I say separate the weak from the strong is because biblically it's the truth that separates the weak from the strong. That's the only thing that could do it. That's the sickle. There is not going to be a big sickle from the sky coming to separate God's people from everybody else. The sickle is the actual truth and the knowledge coming out. The weak people will still side with the wrong side because they want to be comfortable. The strong people will side on the error of truth, even though it's going to be uncomfortable because the fruit is going to bear. Now, what's that scripture you always say? The truth do what?
The truth will set you free, and those whom the truth set free will set you. The truth will set you free, and those whom the truth set free will be free indeed.
You'll be free indeed. But there's another one you said that the truth cuts and it divides something to.
Man! Oh, for the word of God is quick and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing the dividing asunder of the soul and spirit, and even to the joints and marrows, and is a discerner of the thoughts and the intents of the heart.
You see, and that's the reason why I say separate the weak from the strong. I'm basically, I know I'm talking to mainly blue collar people. Y'all don't speak that way. So this is an abbreviated condensing the saying. Basically, I'm saying when I speak this truth, you're gonna see strong people go one way, and you're gonna see weak people go another. The truth does not unite people. It unites like-minded people. That's why Jesus said, don't think that I came to bring peace. I came to bring a sword, separating fathers and mothers, fathers and sons, separating everybody. There's only one thing that can separate everybody in the instant. That's for somebody to speak the truth. Let a man come in a whole room full of people and tell them and himself on a microphone what they really need to be doing, how they really need to be living, and you're going to see people separating. Because the truth makes you uncomfortable if you're not on the right side of it.
And that's why he told the disciples, but he's telling all of us, do not think the student is greater than the master. For if they first persecuted me, they will persecute you for my name's sake. And it's all associated behind what? The truth. They persecuted him because of the truth. So they're going to persecute you for his name's sake because of what? The truth.
Because of the truth. And that's the thing. This makes some sense. And even though you didn't donate yet, I'm going to read this one off. You said Canelo is overrated. Canelo is not great. In order to be great, you have to fight great fighters and beat great fighters. Another overrated one is Loma. I'm glad you said that because back when myself and He Knows the Sports was saying this, did you know we were the only ones that was really saying this?
Only ones. Everybody else had the dicks in the mouth.
They were on the fence around about saying that. We were the only ones saying that Canelo isn't great. For what we saw, it was great. We remember being little kids and watching Hagler versus Hearns. Watching Duran, Tyson, and all these guys all the way up. And while we didn't see Ali, there's Ali's whole career is covered. It was covered on the Wide Water Sports, what they was calling ESPN, down there every year. They'll show his whole career from first fight to last fight. So we knew Ali as well. We knew greatness. We know greatness. So when we say Canelo don't impress me, it's not because Canelo's Mexican. There's black fighters that don't impress us. Devin Haney don't impress us.
Devin Haney do not fucking impress us.
So it don't have nothing to do with color, to be honest.
David Benavidez is a Mexican fighter. He fucking impresses me. Right. And I'm gonna tell you the other one impressed me, the small one, but his ass just cannot stay away from PEDs. That's what's his name again?
Nero.
There you go, Nery, Louis Nery.
Nery. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So we understand thoroughly, intimately what greatness is. So that's the reason why Larry Bird is not a black man, but Larry Bird is considered great because we've seen
he's complete.
LeBron James is a black man, but to me, LeBron James is not great in what I call greatness, but he's a very good player.
There you go.
But he's not very good player. It's different from being great.
Ross is the only person I know on the planet that has said that about LeBron James besides myself. Call him very good. And that's when I said Ross is lit. When Ross said that, I said he's certified when it comes to this basketball. He's certified because people throw out the word great loosely.
Very loosely.
Canelo is very nice. And I don't even consider Canelo very good. I don't even put Canelo on LeBron James level, to be honest with you. I think LeBron James is a higher level than Canelo. But the reason why we compare them is because they do similar tendencies. But Canelo is very nice. That's what he is. At his best, he's very fucking nice.
I always say, when I'm being courteous to his fan base to bring home a point that's going to divide his fan, I always let them know that Canelo, he's a great Mexican fighter, but that's the difference between saying I'm a great fighter. You could be a very, you could be an exceptional, elite Mexican fighter and not be a great boxer.
No,
because there's so many things even the best ones do wrong.
Yep,
like Chavez can't fight on the back foot. Chavez fought a lot of tomato cans, and Chavez's thing was just outwork you and never stop swinging. He was very inaccurate. He was not a great fighter, but he's one of the greatest, if not the greatest Mexican fighter. So if I say you're a great Mexican fighter, that's kind of spade a fucking spade.
Exactly.
But we all know who the real great boxers is. You know what I'm saying? We all know. We know who they are. We know who dominated each era. We know this.
And it's all black fighters. And when we say this, we're considered racial. We're straddling the race line. And see, this is why guys like Showbiz the Adult are finding, even with him having over 100,000 subscribers. I'm telling you right now, and I'm gonna say this, motherfuckers gonna be like, well, how the fuck you could say this? Look at the comments. Look at how many people are like, man, he knows, man. I'm glad you're back. This is why I try to tell you about reputation. This is why I say reputation precedes itself. I've been gone for so long. I've left voids. Guys that I've wanted to channels to thrive, like the Real Marlo TV and them, I was happy when their channels thrived. Guys that I really didn't too much care for, that I gave them the vacuum for their channels to do what they got to do, I'm glad it happened. But at the end of the day, look at the reputation. Reputation precedes itself. Because when you stand on something, people will never forget you, man. Ross has had channels after channels after channels after channels. And every time he drops, his people come back to him. Man, you and nobody cover no snowfall like you, man.
Right.
Don't nobody separate the weak from the strong like you, man. When you have a reputation, your reputation precedes you. So a lot of these guys that we tried to help, we tried to coach them, they didn't listen. We told Showbiz the Adult, stop being a coon and buffoon. You have over 100,000 subscribers and you're struggling to get people to realize your identity. So you know what you got to do? You got to go back to the coon buffoon. You got to go back to that irate, exaggerated nigga that you don't even want to be. You could tell it's forced.
Right.
If it was, you really want to be mellow, you really want to be relaxed and chilled out, but you can never go back to that because every time you do that, it's going to come across as inauthentic to your fan base because you created a fan base you didn't even want in the first place.
Right.
This is the problem. Monty Brown is experiencing this because now Canelo's been exposed. There's no Mexicans. There's no Mexicans coming at you. Now you begging for these niggas' attentions that you disrespected. And you got to understand, niggas are, I always say this, niggas are the last ones to leave you. And when a nigga leave you, you gonna be so hard pressed to get that motherfucker back.
Yep.
And when you started disrespecting uncles, me and Ross created a reputation. When you dealing with your elder, you call him uncle. That shit, that terminology came from us. When you started coming and having Donald Brown go to Ross's channel, my channel, say, man, man, Ross, man, I've seen Ross send me screenshots of Uncle Brown coming to him saying Monty Brown disrespect me, and I've sent him the same shit back. When you start disrespecting your elders, that's a special kind of curse that comes your way. Because now you to the point to where you're so stubborn in what you're doing that you can't move forward. Now I'm saying this to say this point right here, because right now it's not even about foes, it's a friend now. I have a friend out there, and yes, I'm gonna mention him by name, Contender Regime Boxing, trying to help you. But you so much on this bias shit with Devin Haney, it's fucking with your boxing brain. And you my boy, but I'm mentioning you by name. Because I don't go against friends. I always stick to foes. But that shit is hurting your brand. Because you're so biased to a guy that you won't even use your boxing brain to say, okay, you know what? Devin Haney, I ain't gonna lie, in this fight right here, he won by the skin of his teeth. Why didn't you just say that? You'd have been more respected saying that. But when you sit here and try to show us shorts of Devin Haney with body shots, come on, man. Only the dumb gonna understand what you're trying to do. But a person who actually watched the fight knows that you're skewing and taking only images from small snippets of the fight. We actually saw the fight. And if you're being honest and you're calling this motherfucker out, you're gonna say, look, man, I like Devin Haney, but he need to run it back. Why are you so hard with Errol Spence? You from Texas, but you so hard with Errol Spence. But with Devin Haney, you feel like you gotta have his back or some shit. Is that the LDBC bullshit that they told you that's in you? You my brother now, but I gotta come at you too, because guess what? It goes against the grain of keeping the foot on the necks. If I can't even keep the foot on the necks of a friend, that's what keep the foot on the necks is. I gotta keep the foot on the neck. I gotta keep the foot on the necks of somebody. It's incumbent upon me to keep the foot on the necks and apply unlimited pressure. Pressure does what? It bursts his pipe. So I'm basically giving you an Errol Spence style on YouTube because you need to tighten up, bro. Niggas in their feelings. Stop being in your fucking feelings. If Gervonta Tank Davis loses, I'll be the first one to tell you Gervonta Tank Davis lost fair and square. If Errol Spence loses, I'll be the first one to tell you he lost fair and square. You need to be like that about Devin Haney. And if you billing him to say that he has the Mayweather effect, I thought that was your worst work. And you put out great quality work. But when I saw that, man, you made me literally, like I did the other day when I drank too much, you made me literally want to throw the fuck up. To sit here and say Devin Haney has the Mayweather effect, that really fucked your boxing brain up, bro. That you capped for this nigga so much that you had the audacity, the unmitigated gall to compare him with Floyd and say he has the Mayweather effect. The Mayweather effect is run it back. When Mayweather had Castillo, he had Maidana, he ran that motherfucker back.
Hey, so a little not off topic, but a little back to a topic. So it's my personal opinion that the top 5 pound for pound lists are irrelevant. My list matters the most. I think the pound for pound matters more than what ESPN says to me, what Champ side, what all these guys say. What I say, because it's my perception of who's pound for pound. Therefore, when people say, well, Bud is pound for pound, or Bud higher than Errol Spence on the pound for pound list, I ask you at 147, what has Bud done to be on the pound for pound list that high? Because mind you, it's what you do for me lately. At least that's how they carried it with Floyd. Floyd had to keep fighting top fighters, or at least pound for pound fighters, to stay in the pound for pound. So what has Canelo done? What has Bud done? What has Lomachenko, them guys done to be that high?
Exactly.
What are they consistently done? There's some lists where Jamal Charlo not even on the list, and he's an undisputed fighter.
And Jamal Charlo's not on the list with guys that, let's be honest, Canelo Alvarez and Triple G Dub that Jamal Charlo fought. It's disrespectful.
Yeah. I'm talking about Jamel though, the one with the 4 belts.
No, I
So
know that, but
yeah,
I always like to include Jamal Charlo because this is the other thing too. They like to be disrespectful to Mal Charlo, man, and this is why Mal Charlo is dealing with people don't understand why Mal Charlo is dealing with mental health issues. Because some niggas, when they feel like they're not getting their due, and they don't have the resiliency that a Ross or me do, and it's not to say they're a lesser nigga. It's just some niggas that's how they handle it. They go into what we call mental health trauma. Jamal Charlo is going through mental health trauma because y'all niggas are not respecting this man's greatness. I have a brother that's like that. That when he's not acknowledged, he goes into mental health issues. There are people that are like that in the world. It is what it is. It doesn't make them lesser. It's just that's how they cope. And that's why he's coping that way. So when I said what I said about Devin Haney, when motherfuckers say, well, that's why Loma ducked him, Devin Haney didn't watch Loma. And you saw the reason in the fight. What fucking fight were you watching? You could only bring up a stupid comment like that if Devin Haney watched him. Devin Haney has a fight that's controversial. So I really wouldn't even bring up a stupid comment like that.
I'll tell you this.
Like, that sounds dumb as fuck to me to say that.
I'll tell you this. I initially had it a draw. I watched it again. And then I had Devin Haney winning, but not looking good at all. The reason why Devin Haney didn't get a draw or didn't lose that fight is because he's the undisputed champion. So
exactly.
So Loma did very well. And had they been fighting for a vacant belt, or have they been fighting for a number one challenger fight, I believe Loma, because he was more active, would have won that fight, or it would have been a draw. But the reason why Loma didn't win that fight, because, and this is what I love about boxing, they're doing the right way. If the fight's that close, it's not a robbery. Right, it's not a robbery if you lose.
Exactly.
You're fighting an undisputed champion. You have to beat him. You know what I mean? Like me personally, I don't worship Errol Spence. I like Errol Spence. I like what he's
exactly.
I like the way his daddy takes care of him. I like the way his mother's there, but she's not trying to overcome the dad. I like his whole shit, right? But Errol Spence legitimately loses to Bud Crawford. I would not make an excuse for him.
I'm not gonna make no fucking excuse.
I would not make an excuse for him at all. If we
and I'm not gonna be in my feelings. I'm not gonna take this shit personal. And here's the thing, Devin Haney, I don't mind that he won. I'm making that very clear. I don't care that Devin Haney won. As a matter of fact, I was picking Devin Haney to win. But don't sit here and tell me he outboxed Loma. Don't sit here and tell me he won the fight cleanly. When I know my true boxing eyes told me that motherfucker won that shit by the skin of his teeth. When you want to fight like that, if you are a true champion, if you are legit, this is Devin Haney's moment to rise to the occasion and say, you know what? The unanimous public says I didn't win this shit definitive. I'm going to run this shit back because I don't want on my legacy for motherfuckers to say, well, damn, when I fought Loma, now when people look back, they're going to be like, that's a coulda, woulda, shoulda on your legacy. That's why Floyd did that with Maidana. You see, Maidana was running his mouth after the first fight, but when Floyd said running back, did you see Maidana's face? He was like, oh, damn, he must really believe he could definitively fuck me up. It was the same thing with Castillo. He must really believe he could really fuck me up. That's what Andre Ward did with Kovalev. That fuck Kovalev's up mentally. You could fuck a motherfucker up mentally when you let a motherfucker know I'm going to run it back. Because you letting them know you ain't ducking no smoke. And at the end of the day, you want it definitive. So if you have a fight like that, Devin Haney, where you got out of the skin of your teeth, did you really fucking win? Like, be honest with yourself. When you look at yourself in the mirror, did you win? That's why you got guys like Shakur Stevenson saying, and now, he's like, and sitting there saying, for you letting these niggas disrespect you because they know you didn't definitively win.
Yeah, and here's the thing I want to add to that. When it comes to Devin Haney and his team, they're trying to feel their way through this and not following paths that have already worked and adding. They're just trying to take a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, and make their own thing. But that's not how it works. You should take a whole blueprint and make it yours. Like, that's the business way of doing things. You know what I'm saying? Like Floyd, you can tell Floyd Floyd shit is built on who? He ain't go against his uncles and his father. He listened to them. So he had a foundation. Boom, a foundation. Um, you could tell Roy Jones' foundation was Muhammad Ali. How he relied more on athleticism than actual like fundamentals. He was just I'll use my athleticism to beat the hell out of this nigga. But this shit I do wrong purposely. So everybody, Michael Jordan had Dr. J as a foundation.
Keep talking. I'm gonna get this DoorDash order.
Okay. Jordan had Dr. J as a foundation. Kobe had Jordan as a foundation. So you're supposed to use foundations that have already worked to build upon shit. Black people don't know that because very few of us know our fathers. Very few of us know our dads. So we don't have a foundation. Our foundation is our mothers. We don't know that it's supposed to be dad accumulated all of this. Now let me build upon this foundation and accumulate more. Now let my son build upon my foundation and accumulate more. And it's supposed to be building on foundations already laid. But we don't have fathers, so we think it's wrong to build on a platform that's already shown a level of success. We think it's wrong. But it's not. It's a smart thing to do it. The worst thing you can do is try to reinvent the wheel. That's the worst thing you could do is trying to reinvent the wheel when you're doing anything. Don't reinvent nothing if you don't have to. Make what's already there uniquely yours. You know what I'm saying? Make what's already there uniquely yours. So don't be surprised if this fight between Errol Spence and now going back to Bud now and Errol Spence. Don't be surprised if this fight is really a domination. One guy you have has to consistently fighting the best, winning the best, and when he can get the fight and dominated his weight class. You have another guy who has a lot of success, who has a lot of titles, a lot of accolades. But when you look into the accolades, what exactly?
Ross, I want to say something real quick. Hold that thought. I want to say something real quick. This is why they asked Ross and me to come back, because there's a lot of dummies, man. And this is the thing is, when me and Ross are together, we hold niggas' feet to the fire. When you say a win is a win, you sound foolish. A win was not a win to Errol Spence. A win is not a win to Floyd Mayweather. A win is not a win to Andre Ward. Real true champions would never tell you a win is a win because they understand what winning means. A win is not a win to Michael Jordan. A win is not a win to Kobe Bryant. A win is a win to a beta. So when you say a win is a win, you're a beta male. Because an alpha male wants to win definitively. They want to win without a question, without a doubt. They don't want a motherfucker to look back. That's why you see Floyd be pumping his chest. What I do to Canelo, pumping his chest. What I did to Manny Pacquiao. That's what they want. Definitive. Right. So you're a beta male, and I can already tell you're a beta male when you talk like that. A win is not a win. It has to be definitive. That's why I was asked to come back. That's why I was begged to come back, because I have to keep the foot on the neck and bring you motherfuckers back to the standard.
This what they're not realizing. You could say a win is a win when you're fighting against a guy that outmans you, that's bigger than you, stronger than you, faster than you. Somehow you won by skin of your tooth. You can say that. But when you're the bigger guy, you can't say a win is a win, right? When it's a personal thing, boxing is not like playing basketball. It's not like playing football. Even football is a full contact sport. It's not like playing golf or doing anything else. Boxing is very personal. It's a personal loss. The loss hits you way harder than when you lose at a basketball game or when somebody lose in the Super Bowl. Boxing is a very personal loss because your body is taking damage. Somebody has done you bodily harm and took something from you, and they can say, "I didn't dominate in a team way. No, I was animalistically more superior than you this day." That's a harder loss to take. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same. So to say a win is a win is not a win. It doesn't make sense in boxing, because even if you win via disqualification, but you was getting beat up, right?
Yep.
Let's say you won via split decision, but you should have dominated this guy. A
Yep.
win is not a win at that point. Now I was like,
Yep.
I got to do this over and be more dominant because I kind of lost public opinion. Like I won the fight, but I lost public opinion was low. This was public opinion before that fight was Loma ducked Haney. You know what I'm saying? Because technically he did. He vacated the belt and Hayden got the belt. He got a franchise belt. Loma ducked Haney. This would be an easy fight. Blase, blase, blase. That was public opinion for Loma.
Yep.
Like, yeah, you ducked this guy. You know what I'm saying? Now they fight. And now you see in the fight, there's no distinction between the two. And you're like, hold on here. This dude surviving.
Yep.
Against this dude that he supposed to have whooped 3
And
years ago.
when niggas say Errol Spence and Sean Porter was a close fight, and you try to compare that with Devin Haney and Loma, you don't know shit about boxing. Because I didn't see Devin Haney drop Loma the way Errol Spence dropped Sean Porter. And I didn't see Devin Haney punish Loma the way Errol Spence punished Sean Porter. What happened at the end of the fight? Can you break that shit down to them, dog? What happened at the end of the fight? So these dum-dums could understand. What was Sean Porter doing? What was it when he was when Sean Porter's dad, Kenny Porter, when ES News had the camera on him? I think they need a quick rerun on that, Tom Ross.
Repeat the last part real quick.
What did ES News do when he was trying to look Sean Porter's way when Kenny Porter basically they said something to ES News to turn the camera away? You know the specific language that you always break down.
Well, Sean Porter was walking gingerly, barely walking because he had got beat up. People don't realize Sean Porter took a beating, and he had got beat up. Spence was rehydrated for that fight, so he took a beating. So the camera had caught him for a split second, for like 3 seconds, barely walking, and his dad had to help him down the stairs and shit. And they said something. They said something unintelligible. I couldn't make out what they said, but the camera automatically went down like that. And then once they put back on Sean Porter, he was propped up and he was ready to do his interview. And he looked like he had some strength, but he really was barely walking. And his father was helping him down the hallway, going down the stairs. He had to be helped down some stairs, and he was just perfectly fine. Maybe 2 hours prior to that, before the fight started, right? Yeah, all this was done by one man. I've been jumped on by several people and would never walk like that.
Nope.
Never. I've been jumped and didn't walk like that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the very next day when he was on Max Kellerman, he blew up. He had what was called bloated trauma from all of the sustained hits. So that fight was not close. If you truly understand the game of boxing, you know what Spence did to him. So much so, Spence washed Sean Porter that when Sean Porter fought his next 2 fights, the tune-up fight, he looked like trash. And then when he fought Terence Crawford, he didn't even have the same motor anymore. So that fight was not close. Now, Devin Haney, Loma's walking around like his face is all damn near not knotted up anymore. Like everything is fine.
People don't know the difference between a competitive fight and a close fight. Y'all know the difference.
Yep.
A competitive fight would have been Floyd Mayweather, Zab Judah. That was competitive, right?
Or Floyd Mayweather, Miguel Cotto, the example you used earlier.
Right. Floyd Mayweather, Zab Judah, that was competitive. Then Floyd Mayweather hit the gas towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
A close fight was Ali Joe Frazier won.
Yep.
When Joe Frazier needed that knockdown and got it and won the fight, but they was going at it the whole fight. That's a close fight. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference. You know what I mean? That fight at one point could have went one or another totally different ways, or was back and forth all night. Not a competitive fight. Marcos Maidana and Floyd was a competitive fight. He made it competitive. He was being rough and tumble and swinging and being active, but it wasn't a close fight.
Yep.
Those things are different. It wasn't a close fight. You feel what I'm saying? So people got to understand.
I don't think you listening. I think you deaf. Not you, Ross, but I think they're deaf in the chat because when you say Loma was not robbed. Nobody said Loma was robbed. We've been saying the whole time we think Devin Haney won, but I think Devin Haney won by the skin of his teeth.
Barely
and when
won.
you win like that, you have to run it back.
Yeah,
that's not even a definitive win in my book. That's a win where you just got to run it back.
The fight too close to say somebody was robbed.
Exactly.
Like, and me and HeKnows get into it, and we both feel like because when it's a tie, when it's a tie or somebody get the best of you, or you don't think you feel it in your chest.
Yep.
Like damn, I ain't get to whoop this nigga like I really wanted to. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And the streets is telling you won. The next time, motherfucker saying you lost, and it's not a dominating.
Yep.
You can either people are saying you could have won. They're saying it could be a draw, or you could have lost. You got to run that back.
Yep.
You got to run that back. But in any case, there's no robbery because there's no robbery if the fight could have been a draw.
Nope.
If the fight's that close to where it could be a draw, then there's no robbery when somebody tells you, man, I think you lost. You can't get mad because the fight was that close.
So clearly you was not listening.
Right. And the other person can't get mad if they say they think he lost because the fight was that close. You didn't dominate.
Nobody didn't say it was a robbery. We basically saying you didn't win definitive. It could have gone either way. And nobody's mad. If people say Loma won, I'm not mad at them. People say Haney won, I'm not mad at them. People say it's a draw, I'm not mad. But there's a problem with that. That means that fight has too many variables. When the fight has too many variables, you got to run it back.
You got to run it
with
back.
With Spence and Porter, the reason why that was a horrible comparison, nobody's sitting there going back and saying, did Spence win? Did Spence lose? Et cetera, et cetera.
Hold on.
Definitively.
This man said something, but that because he don't understand what Boxing has went through a regression. With Canelo at the top because Canelo don't fight his prime fighters. Mm-hmm. He's not making the fights. Canelo Andre will be a sold out pay per view. Jamelo Charlo will be, and Jamelo Benavidez will be. And these guys need to do their part because they're not fighting each other either. And now they're at the point where they all need to start fighting each other. But I said all that to say this: Boston has been in a regression, so 130,000. Is solid now.
It is.
It's solid now.
It is. That's sad, but it is. That's true.
It's solid now. You know what I'm saying? Because the cash cow drives up the prices. This cash cow is not generating the money. He's getting a gate because he fights. He goes and fight at places where they give you gates for anything. Like in Europe, in those arenas, they pack those arenas out for everything. For soccer matches. The people that's going to watch these fights don't even watch boxing. They watch soccer all year long. Exactly. Where Canelo fights at. So that's why it's being packed out. Or Mexico, right? Where boxing is the stock market in Mexico, man. It's a life source in Mexico. They're going to watch anybody. They're going to pack anybody out like that. If you got a name. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying? But he's not doing that in the States, though. And nobody's buying those pay-per-views Canelo was doing. He's not generating the money. Meanwhile, Floyd Mayweather was the money generator. Even the shows prior to the fight, each show was doing 1 million something viewers.
Mm-hmm.
And Floyd Mayweather, you know what I'm saying? And he was that's generating money. That's a mini TV show. Well, how many series? Like 6 or 7 series.
Yep.
Before a fight.
Yep.
And he was selling out. People not understanding that alone and the back end of money. I'm not telling he knows nothing because he runs a business, but people not understanding how that drives up the prices for everybody else.
Yep. That's true.
If one man at the top could demand $2 million, that means a solid fight with 2 guys on the up and coming should at least be able to demand 200,000 or 300,000. You know what I mean?
And I'm laughing because all me and Ross do is talk business when it comes to boxing. We actually set the standard for business when it comes to boxing. I'm an active businessman. I run business all day, every day. Yeah. Ross is a businessman too. So when you say not street fighting is prize fight, actually you need to just shut the fuck up and listen to us so you can learn business. We're teaching you business. We're teaching you business here. Right. And when you say prize fighting, it's not street fighting, it's prize fighting. Well, here's the thing. Devin Haney not running it back is bad on his business. And the business that is bad on, and I'm going to explain this to you because maybe you have a peon brain, you don't understand what's going on here. It's bad for his brand. Your brand is your business. His brand is called The Dream.
Mm-hmm.
And it's bad for his brand because his brand was sold on Loma was the main one that gave him the email champion banner. So with Loma giving him the email champion banner, if you don't beat the guy that gave you the banner definitively, your branding is hurting from a business standpoint.
Right.
Because you just basically told the guy that you're validating the fact that he is saying that you're email champion because you didn't even beat him the way you were supposed to. So from a business standpoint, do I need to break this shit down to you? Because I think I need to break it down to you at a little economical level. Because I'm sure you're just a commentator who's never even dealt with money or figures or a financial ledger, so you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Basically right now, his brand has been slandered right now.
His brand is not Blue Magic. It's what was that shit called on Frank Lucas, the movie?
He said Red Magic, something. He was trying to call it Red Magic, some bullshit. He was trying to call it Blue Magic, but he wouldn't have had a meeting with him. Like, bro, you stepping on it too hard. Stepping on it means he's mixing it with something else too hard. It's not the same. You got to call it something else because it's no longer the same product. That's actually a thing in real. That's actually a thing in real business, right? If HeKnows takes a Church's Chicken franchise, his food has to taste just like everybody else's. It can't be no deviation.
Yep.
Once you start deviating to cut costs, whatever you're doing, they can now say, you know what, we're taking our franchise away from you. You fucking up the franchise name. And they can buy you out and say, here's go some money, go do something else. Because you fucked up our franchise name. We decided to fry up your own rings.
Yep.
You can't do that. And that's what he's breaking. That's what he said. That's what he's saying. Canelo has brought down the Boston has took a L, a black eye since under Canelo. Boston was the premier fighting as far as money getter before Canelo when Floyd had him. Under Canelo, UFC has surpassed boxing.
Yep.
They surpassed it now. They get on average more pay-per-views than the average boxer. The only thing is boxing pays better. You'll see Dana White don't pay the boys nothing. They be getting like $200,000-$300,000 from the $2 million fight card.
Yep. I'm gonna tell you right now. It's interesting Ross said that. There are 3 boxers I've ruined their fucking careers. And I could brag and say that shit. I ruined Danny Garcia because every time people talk Danny Garcia, they call him a cherry. I synonymously tagged his ass with a cherry.
Right.
The Teofimo Lopez on Twitter, he got motherfuckers calling him super duper hype job. What the fuck you think? Where the fuck you think that super duper hype job name came from? And that nigga get mad every time he say, I'm telling you, if y'all don't want me to dish rag Devin Haney, I'm giving Devin Haney grace right now.
Right.
But if his ass don't play, I could ruin his ass too. I could ruin his fucking brand. So he better run that shit back and show some respect. Because if I really start saying the shit that I say and I go unlimited pressure on some videos, I could label his ass real good and it won't be good for him. Because that's what I'm trying to tell you about branding.
You got a glass.
You are who you say you are. Be who you say you are. Devin Haney ran his mouth and say that he don't duck nobody. Devin Haney ran his mouth and say that he is the fighter that he said he is. Prove it.
Right.
Fucking prove it. If you can't prove it, shut the fuck up. Go crawl back into a hole. This is the problem with people. They always tell you what the fuck they are, but they can't give you justifications to prove it. And if you understand simple business 101, Devin Haney's branding is hurting right now because his branding is not solid. He's looked at basically as an undisputed champion with question marks.
Yeah.
That's not good. To have fucking question marks and you undisputed. The word undisputed means undisputed. That means it can't be questioned. How the fuck you got question marks? He's the only guy that's like that. Yeah. And you sitting here in the back of your mind and rationalizing, and saying to yourself that Devin Haney is legit with question marks, that's bad. That's bad. It makes you look bad because you put in feelings into it, and it looks bad because it shows to everyone that you're really not a boxing fan. You have a personal bias. This is the problem with niggas. Niggas put their feelings, their personal feelings. Personal feelings get you fucking in trouble. You know why personal feelings get you in trouble? It's a feminine trait. Nobody gives a fuck how you feel. Motherfuckers care about the results. They care about the actions. They care about the finality and the totality of shit.
I know I sound like a parrot right now when he's talking, but I take it all in fun and just because he knows we have a mutual understanding, but I'm parroting him because that's all gospel and facts, man. Everything he was saying, I just repeat it. You know what I'm saying? Because some things it comes down to something very simple: integrity and principle, man. It comes down to those things, and when you realize nothing really rings true, and nothing is really factual in this world, and facts that can't be manipulated, because some facts can't be manipulated, numbers can be manipulated, but integrity, character, principles cannot be manipulated, man.
Nope.
Those things are what they are. It's no great error with integrity. You either a person of integrity or you're not. You either live by principles or you don't. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing to manipulate. There's nothing to manipulate there. And the thing with Devin Haney is trying to be in two worlds at the same time.
Exactly.
He's trying to appeal to the black hardcore market boxing fans who understand what greatness is, but he's also trying to live on the side of the over promoted and the overrated, so he could get those number 1, 2, 3 pound for pound slots that he might not even deserve. But if you're on the wrong side, if you're on the right side of ESPN and Ring Magazine, you could do that. Because they're the ones that control how people view the fighters. If you're on the right side, even though you're better, you might not get the proper rating. That's why I keep telling people, stop judging fighters according to white publications and people that control their greatness. Granted, the Grammys did used to mean something until they started basically running the music industry like a satanic cult. It did used to mean something. But then once they started giving Grammys to people who are pushing agendas in the world, like LGBT and stuff like that, it stopped meaning as much. So we gotta let go of Grammys, Oscars, pound for pound list. The list that you believe is the list that matters, man. Facts. Stand on your own principles as a man. If you really believe Crawford better than Errol Spence, I vehemently disagree. But if you believe that, you're supposed to stand on that.
Exactly.
Not wait for ESPN to convince you. Not use ESPN talking points. You're supposed to be standing on that hill, but there's nobody with you.
Yep.
By yourself.
Yep.
I've been saying Kobe Bryant is the most skilled player to ever live.
Ever.
And for that reason, he's a GOAT to me. In a certain sense, he is a GOAT of basketball. But I always said that, but he's not greater.
And not only that, he got two other ones. He got two other ones you can add to that. The smartest player ever and the hardest working ever.
But he's not greater because greater is accolades, and Jordan accumulated more of those accolades. Yep. But in skill, I feel he is. So there's ways. So when people say Jordan's better than Kobe, I don't lose my mind because there's ways where Jordan is superior than Kobe. So that's the thing that I'm willing to acquiesce to. But I would never bring LeBron into that discussion. You see what I'm trying to say? How there's levels of things.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with Devin Haney and again, we got to use Devin Haney as the example because Devin Haney is disrespecting the black fighter. And this is what you don't understand why he's disrespecting the black fighter. There's a signature thing when you're a black fighter and you fight a person of a different race and you don't wash them. That's sacrilegious in our circle.
Right.
That's damn near disrespectful because that's what we do. We wash you. We dominate you.
Right.
When you don't do it, You're doing a disservice. This is what I'm trying to tell you, especially with him being called the next Floyd Mayweather. You got to understand why Devin Haney is so fucked on so many levels. Because he don't look like Floyd. You know what he looks like? A Dollar General Floyd, a
Right.
dollar store Floyd Mayweather. We've all been to the dollar store and we know it's knockoff. That's the reason why it's for $1. Because you're not getting the shit at the name brand level and the name brand cost.
Right.
So you got to get it for a fucking $1.
You get
That's
stock.
Devin Haney. Devin Haney's the dollar version.
People
And
don't
that's
realize
that's what he deserves because that's
Yeah.
how he's moved his fucking career. He's moved it on a dollar store level. And
everything.
until he can prove otherwise, he's gonna be a dollar store Floyd.
Everything in the dollar store is low grade, even when
Yep.
it's name brand. That's the stock that they probably should. That's the stock they probably was supposed to throw away because everything a brand creates, they don't sell. If the stitching is wrong, they will sell a Jordan because that one little stitch is wrong, right? They got to remake the
Yep.
whole Jordan. If the beer, they taste the beer and the beer ain't perfect, they got to remake the whole batch. Some shit they just throw away. But in the dollar store, that shit you seeing, the reason why it's so reduced, because those things are imperfect some type of way. Either they got too much of some type of material in their plastic, so they can't sell it in the regular store and shit. It's something wrong with everything in the dollar store.
Mhm.
Everything. There's something wrong with that's why it's reduced. And that's when you look at Top Rank and you look at Golden Boy, they have dollar store fighters compared to PBC, man. They have dollar store. PBC is Target. PBC is Target, man.
And you know who's the real dollar store? We're gonna say Top Rank, the Zone and them. We're gonna say they $2 store, $3 stores. You know who's the real dollar store? Black Prime Boxing. They did all that shit to try to stop Spence versus Crawford. And here we are, July 29th, 2023. Spence versus Crawford is still gonna fucking happen.
What? Black Prime ain't no dollar store. Black Prime is a nigga on the side of the road selling oranges. That was those motherfuckers. They selling oranges. It don't ain't got no permit and fuck bag gonna get put in jail. You know what I'm saying?
Deontay Wilder has way more respect than Devin Haney. Why? Because Deontay Wilder went through the whole race. Even though Deontay Wilder's on the losing side, and I don't prefer that he's on the losing side, Deontay Wilder can hold his head up and say, you know what? I went through the whole race of the shit, the whole race of the fight. Because it's about ending the race. It's about making it definitive, whether if it's in your favor or not. So Deontay Wilder still can hold his head up because, yes, he lost the brunt of it, but guess what? He made it towards the end of the race. Devin Haney didn't do that with Loma.
To real black men, Deontay Wilder don't owe us no apology. We wish he would move a little smarter, but he don't owe us no apology because he went out. If you gonna lose because of that, you know what I'm saying? Like let's be honest. We all know Tyson Fury gained 80 pounds. He's 80 pounds bigger than Deontay Wilder and shit. They allow him to fight at 380 pounds and shit. We all know that you don't get power overnight. And they were tampering with the gloves. But Deontay Wilder was moving smart. He had the right team around him. Lose because of those type of things.
Yep.
But you can't be in a fight to where you're definitively supposed to win and struggle to win and then behave after the fight as if you purely dominated. If anything, that fight should have been a split decision win for him. They gave Floyd.
My bad.
They gave Floyd a split. They gave Floyd a split decision against Oscar. And he dominated Oscar.
Yep.
So how does this dude get? How does he get an ununanimous decision in that fight? Did that look like an ununanimous performance?
Yeah, exactly. You're actually missing our point. You're actually missing me and Ross's point. I think it's going over your head. Maybe we're a little too smart for you. Deontay Wilder gets the definitive tag, win, lose, or draw, because Deontay Wilder went through the whole race. Devin Haney didn't go through the whole race. Devin Haney has to fight Loma one more time. Well, I don't need to see 3 fights for them because that shit don't need to be 3. I need one more, like he did with Camboso. With Camboso, installed the rematch. But guess what? Kambosos was definitive. Devin Haney definitively beat up Kambosos. But because there was a rematch clause, Devin Haney wanted to prove definitive, so he fought him again. So if you can do it with a situation like that, why can't you do it with a situation when it's closer? You know what that speaks to? It speaks to the psyche of Devin Haney. That when he's in pressurized situation, I always tell you, you're gonna find a real and true character of a person when they're in a pressurized situation. When they're really know what that motherfucker's about. Devin Haney proved in pressurized situations, let me just play the tag of, well, he's a sore loser. And that's what he's selling. And you motherfuckers are going with the Kool-Aid. That's why on Twitter, when I told Devin Haney, run that motherfucker back and call him a Dollar General Floyd, I got a lot of flack, man. I got a lot of feedback from a lot of you damn Devin Haney fanboys. And I know that shit hit him. Because but what I did is I fuck with his psyche. See, the thing with me and Ross, we know how to fuck with people's psyche. I don't need to be famous. I'm just a very witty. People that's been around me know this shit. If I really want to fuck with you mentally, sometimes I have to pray to God that I don't do that because I can manipulate somebody. It's very dangerous. Ross has that ability too. That's why a lot of times we got to be praying, repenting all the time. Because we have the ability, if we want to, we can manipulate you. I know I can manipulate a motherfucker. So sometimes I got to hold back. But I know what I said when I said to Devin Haney, that shit hurt him. Because I call that nigga Dollar General Floyd. I call him a Dollar Store Floyd because I went into the motherfucker's psyche. You got to go into someone's psyche. You got to make them feel what the landscape is really telling them. You got to make them see the reality. I'm not going to be your yes man. I'm not going to be like that yes man that gets his ass whooped by everyone that shows up to the fight because he's talking shit in Devin Haney's face. I'm going to tell you the truth. Look, the landscape is saying this white boy beat your ass.
Yeah.
And in the hood, we cannot accept you being a 24-year-old getting your ass whooped by someone who's supposed to be over the hill 35. Now it begs the question. Loma probably should be slapping himself saying, damn, when this nigga was calling me the email champion, I should have probably fought his ass then because I was fresher. Now it's making me think in my head. It's making Ross think in his head. It's making Jay Cooley. It's making a whole bunch of people think in their head. Fuck. If Loma fought this nigga a few years ago, it would have been more embarrassing. So he actually caught Loma at the right fucking time. You see how so many scenarios get thrown out because you don't make it definitive. So the way you make it definitive, Devin Haney, and the way you save your brand, you run the motherfucker back.
Right.
You ain't got no fights coming up. You ain't fighting no Tank. You're not fighting no Shakur Stevenson. And after this fight right here, you do to make even more money if you run it back with Loma.
Right.
And it's and see, Loma is smart because Loma's playing to all his white boy cards. That crying that shit he did, that was perfect masterpiece white boy shit. That's what I'm trying to tell you. If you really think you
every time he loses, he do some crazy shit. Last time he was in a motherfucking wheelchair.
Because there's a lot of in business, there's a lot of things called animation. You got to be very, very animative in business, very innovative. This is why Loma was able to get this motherfucker a $400,000 fine. He played to his white card, but Devin Haney's not playing to the black card. The only black card Devin Haney has is okay. You did all this fuck shit. You did all this bullshit. Well, guess what? I'm gonna call your little white card. I'm gonna call your white card ass out. Run that motherfucker back. That's the only advantage he has right now. Because when he does that, what it's going to do is it's going to send a psychological message to Loma that, damn, this motherfucker is not scared of me. Because in Loma's mind, he's thinking he could still beat you. So did you really win? When you leave the fighter thinking he can still beat you? No. So that's why you got to run it back, because psychologically, when you say run it back, you're telling the fighter mentally, this is about mental warfare. You're letting him know, nah, you ain't that dude that you think you are. So I'm going to run it back. I'm going to prove to you my legitimacy. Then when you do that and when you actually run it back and you fight, then guess what you prove? To not only everybody in the boxing world, you prove to everyone that guess what? We're not on the same level. And then when you sat there and said, Devin Haney is great, but Shakur, but Tank's not great, you clearly show you're a boxing casual. Because anyone that knows boxing knows Gervonta Tank Davis is that dude. All Gervonta Tank Davis got to do is land. Even Tim Bradley, Tim Bradley had to admit Gervonta Tank Davis' greatness. I got a shorts out for that. He said, man, Tank is so nice. His boxing IQ is so lethal. His footwork is so superior. All Tank got to do is set you up and hit you and get your ass out of there. If you can't understand Tank's special ability, then there's no need to even talk boxing. If you can't even see that, why do you think Shakur Stevenson, who has boxing pedigree, says him and Tank are the super fight? Why would he say that? Because he reveres Tank as that dude. A dude won't say another dude is a super fight unless he saw that dude as that dude. Do you get that? Or you just a dodo hit?
But when he talks about Haney, he talks about Haney as if Haney's already past tense.
Exactly.
As if Haney has already lost because he knows it's coming.
Yep.
Think about what Haney gonna do. Haney either he has to fight competition, he has to fight Shakur or Tank, or he got to move up at this point. Nobody's gonna pay to see him do nothing else at this point. You don't got time for
Sean Davis, dog. Ross laughed at this dude, Keyshawn Davis, that clown Spence. Keyshawn Davis, you know what he said about Devin Haney? And you're gonna be like, damn, okay. Now I see why Devin Haney's disrespected. He said Devin Haney won because Devin Haney's light skinned. When a nigga say that in our circles, that means you're not respected, bro.
Right.
You not respected. When they say you won because you light skinned, oof. Right. I'm trying to tell you, Devin Haney's brand is fucked. He don't run that motherfucker back. He's fucked.
Right now, his name is not in the streets like that. Like it's in corporate, but it's not in the streets like that. But boxing, the streets dictate boxing.
Exactly.
That's why certain companies, they can't really sell out. They can't really put on no good shows. ESPN only puts on a good show with PBC. Go to Book only puts on a good show with PBC. Matchroom only with PBC. Outside of that, nobody even keeps up with their fighters like that.
Exactly.
They don't put on good shows. They don't sell out. Nobody wants anything to do. You ever watch an ESPN production that's on ESPN fighters? Snooze fest. You ever watch the own production? The own production like WCW. Like the ring all generic.
You know what, bro? I think WCW is more entertaining than ESPN.
It's entertaining, and I'm talking about the setup. The setup is basic.
I know.
The ring walk only 10 feet. They walk 10 feet. The length of a football goal, not football, but a basketball goal, 10 feet, and they already got the ring and shit.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's trash, man. The PBC is what's carrying boxing right now.
Yep.
But because they're black owned and they do for black fighters, they don't get the publicity they're supposed to get.
Nah, they don't.
But the hardcore fans is what hold PBC up.
Yep.
The hardcore fans, the one who actually understand boxing, those are fans who hold the reason why PBC still has a platform, and that type of fan base you can never lose with. It's the reason why they can't cancel Kanye West.
Yep.
Because Kanye West has a real fan base. His fan base isn't controlled by what the media say. His fan base don't get no fuck. If Kanye put out something that's quality, they gonna buy it.
Yep.
It don't matter. They're not buying it because it got a good review. They're not buying it because the media is telling them about it. They buying it because they fuck with Kanye. You can't. You see what I'm saying? That's the PBC. The PBC don't have the media in their back pocket. Everybody else talk bad about the PBC, yet they put on the best shows.
And here's the thing: people say how many back fighters has Tank fought. That goes to show you how popular Tank is. This motherfucker, they even have to fight that many black fighters for him to sit there and still be where he's at. Imagine when he actually does. That's Floyd Mayweather is. See, that's the difference between a guy who is a cash cow versus a guy who isn't. Because if you understand business, which you clearly don't, what Gervonta Tank Davis did is he used the Floyd Mayweather blueprint. He was the Mexican executioner. You know, when you pair a black fighter with a Mexican fighter, you're going to do numbers. What he did to Leo Santa Cruz is still in people's minds. Do you not understand there's memes? If you understand business, you could understand how this is timeless. There's a meme for Leo Santa Cruz. There's a meme for Ryan Garcia because these guys have names. When you sit here and says prize fighting and this and that, I would think if you understood business, you would understand the intangibles, the brilliance behind that. But clearly you don't. That clearly went over your head. So when he actually does fight, whatever you want to call these black fighters or whatever that he's already washed in sparring, he's gonna dominate them because he's already washed Haney in sparring. He's already washed Shakur Stevenson in sparring. All Tank got to do, and this is what makes Tank so dangerous, all he got to do is land. Them niggas got to come in and do everything. Shakur got to fight damn near perfect. Haney got to fight double fucking perfect and still fucking lose, if you tell me. But Shakur got to fight a perfect fight. Here's the thing. Gervonta Tank Davis don't need to fight a perfect fight because Gervonta Tank Davis is proven, like Errol Spence, they got a fucking chin. And he'll dominate you. It's that simple. Yeah, it's just like Errol Spence when Jose Benavidez, not David Benavidez, Jose Benavidez, the brother, he sparred Errol Spence and he sparred Terence Crawford. And the sparring that he did with Terence Crawford was very reminiscent of what happened in the fight. So sparring, when it's sparring wars, it actually is a simulation of a fight. Jose Benavidez sparring wars with Errol Spence, and Errol Spence said he washed them. That's what I'm trying to tell you, man. There's levels. This is how you know Spence is going to wash Terence Crawford because they've already fought like opponents.
It's going to be brutal. It's going to be brutal.
It's going to be brutal. It's going to be brutal. And Spence has dominated the same sparring partners that Terence Crawford went tooth and nail with. Spence dominated them. And when you got guys like Shakur Stevenson, guys like Keyshawn Davis saying, man, I sparred with Terence Crawford. Why do you think Shakur Stevenson ain't sparring with Errol Spence? He know Errol Spence going to knock a few years off his career. I want Shakur Stevenson to go in there and spar with Errol Spence and start taking those punishment punches, man. I want Keyshawn Davis to go in there. These young boys are going to get a few years knocked off. It's a little different when you fighting a guy that's hitting you in the body, that's hitting you with fundamentals, that's hitting you with simplistic boxing 101 that's in a high guard, blocking everything up, shutting everything down, and fucking you up.
Right.
Yeah, we about to close pretty soon. But I'm going to tell y'all real quick, it's different. So Errol Spence is a different animal. This is why I know Terence Crawford going to fold, because I told people from day one, when you make a determination on who's going to win the fight, you have to look at who is going to impact and inflict more punishment. This is how you determine who wins a fight in any fight. Fuck boxing, man. Because Errol Spence can box with any motherfucker and then outbox them. That's what he did with Dennis Ugas. He told Dennis Ugas, fuck your boxing. Because I'm going to box with you, but I'm punishing you. It's about punishment. Because when everybody can box on the same level or they're comparable with each other, now it's about who can punish who. That's what he did with Dennis Ugas. You saw they were boxing, right? But then Errol Spence outboxed them and then punished them. That's what's going to happen with Terence Crawford. The nigga gonna get punished.
Okay, so here's the thing I want to say about this. So a lot of people are missing the fact that Spence spars to be as proficient as you in boxing, but he prepares for war.
Yep.
He fights bigger. He spars with bigger and stronger people all the time too. All the time, and he's spars people his size. Floyd Mayweather Jr. He for the most part survived at 147 and higher due to his mental acumen.
That boy got a brain.
He's a 140 pounder at his best. At Floyd's best, he's a 140 pounder. He never was a real welterweight. But he was so skilled, and he had just enough power to hurt guys that was bigger than him. But he was never a full-bodied welterweight, right? Errol Spence is a real welterweight. See how big as he's your real welterweight, right? Spence, as a welterweight, always spars with middleweights, super middleweights, light heavyweights, sometimes heavyweights, all the time. He's gonna walk through Bud Crawford. Bud Crawford is Floyd Mayweather body wise, but he don't have Floyd Mayweather's mind. Floyd Mayweather knows when I get hurt to wrap up until I can recover. Bud gets hurt and tries to continue fighting as he's hurt.
Yep.
And don't know how to recover, don't know how to initiate a clinch. Boxing is not like football, basketball, and all of that. You get a 30-second reprieve and you back boxing. There's no timeouts. Your timeout is the clinch. If you get tired and take a quick breath, you have no timeouts in boxing, right? Unless the ref say time, you have no timeout. If you have to fight, you know what I'm saying? So, and these are little small things. Crawford, if he knows that he doesn't implement it, how's he gonna survive against Spence? When all he knows is just a fight. Because probably the contrary, I believe Crawford is not a great boxer like that. He gets touched in every fight. I'm talking about massive blows in every fight.
Mm-hmm.
His idea of fighting is fight southpaw 30 seconds, fight orthodox 30 seconds, and keep going back and forth and make people doing something that's crazy. But yet he get hurt down there every fight.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. Spence just destroyed Ugas with no Blu-ray.
Yep.
So what I'm telling you is I love Spence under Blu-ray, and I love Spence now. I ain't love Spence right after no Blu-ray.
Period.
Because he was doing something, but you're still whooping people's ass. But I love Spence now because right here, I feel like he's just slightly better than he was with Blu-ray. Because now he's a better boxer. Now he's a better boxer, and and it's a difference between what he was doing on Blu-ray. Blu-ray would let him do whatever he wanted to do. That was kicking his ass throughout the training process and having him looking crazy. But it's a difference when you stay in shape all year and you don't got to beat your body up and you just go right to getting big again. And now you can practice on your skills most of the training camp because you don't get your strength and condition didn't take long because you ain't out of shape. So what he's doing now is better than what he was doing with Blu-ray because now it's a healthy, clean life and not just a torturous gym process.
Exactly, because now he has a full team that's using a scientific approach to keeping him lean. If you look, even when he was on the Blu-ray, he was blowing up between fights and shit.
Yeah.
But when he's basically with these people, they got him on clean nutritional meals because he's older. He's in his 30s. The body doesn't, from a standpoint of metabolism, it doesn't do what it does in his 20s. So having those meals and having the nutrition on point scientifically, you'll be dialed in. Anybody that has 2 cents, I've said this before, anyone that has 2 cents that know what the fuck they doing and have right and tight, really it's not even all about that. It's about the fighter. And it's about what the fighter brings to the table. Spence is a special fighter. So when people say Blu-ray is Errol Spence's secret weapon, then you really are not an Errol Spence fan. And you really don't understand the genius and the specialness of Errol Spence. Now, has Blu-ray helped Errol Spence win a lot of his signature wins? Yes. Nobody's not knocking that. Errol Spence has also won a lot of signature wins without him. So Errol Spence is Errol Spence's secret weapon. That's how you got to look at it. Because then you're taking away from the person. It's like saying Dean Smith was Michael Jordan's secret weapon. That sounds stupid. Or Phil Jackson was Michael Jordan. No, Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan's secret weapon. Or that's like saying Phil Jackson is Kobe Bryant's secret weapon. No, Kobe Bryant is Kobe Bryant's secret weapon. When a guy is special, they're special with or without you. Now, there's elements that you bring to the table that may highlight some signature moments of the guy, but it's the guy that's special. The reason why he's the truth is because he's the fucking truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. And you can't take that away. So when you sit here and think that it's one guy, That's a beta male mentality to have. To be honest with you, it just tells me that you have what's called dependency issue. You probably in a relationship where you're dependent on your woman, and if your woman is not around, you probably don't know how to exist. I can already read you and see that that's what you're dealing with. Because when you talk like that, you talk from a dependency standpoint. Because anyone that has a really truly independent mindset knows, with or without, they are who they are.
Right. Right. And it's just not true. Errol Spence's got stoppers against Ugas. So it's not like he's not knocking people out. You can't knock everybody out. But once he got back on his shit, he got back to knocking motherfuckers out.
And that's his most signature win to date.
Yeah, that's his biggest win so far. Okay, they made him a 3-belt
win.
It made him a 3-belt unified champ. At that point, when he knocked him out and Terence Crawford was still playing about the fight, he could have moved up and started dominating 154.
Yep.
And still wouldn't have took no slack because he already done enough to solidify himself at welterweight. What's name has not done enough.
Yep.
Terence Crawford has not done enough to say I was solidified at welterweight. He's not. He never unified another belt.
Exactly.
If you don't unify belts in a weight class, you're not solidified there.
And Terence Crawford had an opportunity to be a 3-belt champion way before Errol Spence. You know how we know? The car crash. He could have went and beat Manny Pacquiao, collected the belt. He could have went and beat Sean Porter or Danny Garcia and collect the belt. He could have been a 3 champion.
He ain't fight none of those guys. And that's why I knew Crawford wasn't shit. That's why I knew he wasn't shit because in that time, if the reverse would happen, it would have been Terence Crawford who had all the belts and then did that. When he came back to boxing, Errol Spence would have had everything. All he would have to do is sign.
Yep.
He would have to do no heavy lifting when he came back from a car crash. All you have to do is just sign.
That's it.
But Crawford didn't do nothing. When Spence was gone, I knew it was some bullshit.
I said that, and you saw what it did. Re-energize Ross' last point because Ross was like, "Oh shit, yeah, that shit is true." Because think about it, he left a void, man. Errol Spence didn't fight for 2 years, bro. Right. And how the fuck did you not collect those 2nd and 3rd belts? That told you that Terence Crawford was a barking fucking chihuahua, man. Right. He should be the one with 3 belts right now if he's that dude. Let's be honest.
Right now, Errol Spence should just have the WBA right now. Because that would have been the easiest fight for him to make to come back and get the championship because Ugas got it and shit. Everything else, Bud supposed to have. And he didn't get it. That lets me know this dude just be capping. But Keith Thurman had 2 belts and he wasn't fighting nobody, just holding the belts and shit. And he was avoiding. That lets me know if he. That's why I wasn't sold on Keith Thurman against Manny Pacquiao.
And you got that one, man. You tried to talk me off the ledge. I should have been talked off the ledge for real.
He don't never come really in shape with his body. He just rely on his punching power.
Exactly.
And the dude was training all in the platinum fitness. He was really taking this dude for granted because he felt like I could get him. Not realizing Manny Pacquiao got to where he did not get to where he was at because he can't fight now.
Floyd always ruins everybody. The reason why Floyd make it look easy because he's Floyd. But Floyd tells you Manny Pacquiao is not easy, man.
It's not easy because he fight awkward. Floyd's somebody who's at the he's what they call the cream of the creme.
Yeah, like he always tell you, I'm at the pinnacle of the sport. He's at the pinnacle.
Or critical, right. He's the cream of the crop. Mm-hmm. So when you're the cream of the crop or something, you do everything pretty much the right way.
Yeah.
And sometimes people who don't do shit the right way could throw you off. And it's not necessarily they better than you. It's just that there's such a gulf in technicality that they gotta adjust to you. You know what I'm saying?
You know who reminds me of Floyd Mayweather? You know who reminds me of Floyd? Tom Ross does. Because these two guys will say things about themselves. It'll piss people off. It'll make people feel like they're annoyed. Like yesterday, to me, I'm not annoyed. To me, I was just like, yeah, this motherfucker preaching to the choir. But he was like, man, when I deal with bitches, man, I'm direct, and they automatically got to submit. Like motherfucker, him and
Right.
Floyd, they make statements that really sound inflammatory as fuck to the normal ear.
Right.
But because they believe in that shit so much, it makes people believe in what the fuck they
Right.
saying.
Right.
Floyd tells you, and I love his term. That's the one part of Floyd that I miss. The active part of Floyd. Floyd not being in the sport no more. Cause he used to have them terms, boy. He used to have them saying, "This motherfucker come in. I'm at the pinnacle of the sport." I
Right.
know that shit gotta bother people when this nigga say that. Cause he say it with such a swag.
But it was the truth. But here's the thing that they did. Here's the thing they're not giving Floyd and whether Errol Spence gets it or not. Well, EJ's not going to vote. EJ don't even give a fuck what the media says.
Nope.
I just hope they give it to EJ when he gets it. They didn't give Floyd this. When Floyd was dominating, not only was he the best fighter, compared to what he was doing in boxing, he was the best athlete at that time.
Yep.
He was making the highest purses. He was drawing the most attention, and he was perfect in championship fights, and he had a lot of them.
Yep.
If championships are equal, championships are championships, and you can't really snuff it. You can't really do this to no boxing championship because ain't nobody defending you in there. You got to defend yourself.
Yep.
You can't thumb your nose at a boxing championship and say that ain't shit. Because that's something. There's a lot of sacrifice that goes into that, and there's nobody to blame if you lose when you're a boxer. People do it, but we all look at you like, man, just take the L. You look bad. You know what I mean? There's nobody that dropped the ball. There's nobody who fumbled. You in there by yourself. You're a boxer. So that shit means something. And he didn't get it. Now, when Errol Spence, because I think this is what Errol Spence is going to do, and then he's going to call it a career. He's going to be done with it. Get undisputed here. He's gonna become undisputed at 154. Because the fights are easy to make at 154, and get a belt at 160 on the way out if he has enough time to do that. But if he dominates on 147 and he becomes undisputed at 154, there's nothing you can say, and he'll be in that stratosphere with Floyd.
That's what I want. This is what I want Earl to do. I want Earl to get the undisputed at 147. Quick, the undisputed at 54 is going to be a lot quicker because, let's be honest, it's not that many fighters you got to go through to get it.
Right.
Get the undisputed at 154, and then fuck around and get undisputed at 160. I mean, if you have undisputed for 3 weight classes, you could leave, because then you would have hit the 2 cornerstone weight classes. Welterweight and middleweight. That's cornerstone. That's cornerstone weight classes, man. Like, you don't beat shit like that. For him to be able to say he's undisputed at 147, 154, and 160. Oh yeah, you can honestly, realistically put him right there with Floyd Mayweather. And what that would look like is a Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant scenario. That's what it would be perfectly. I call Errol Spence Kobe, but let's be honest, he hasn't done Kobe level accolades yet. But if he do some shit like that, that would make him the real Kobe Bryant, for real. He would have the Kobe Bryant accolades to stand toe to toe and say, "Hey man, I'm that guy that came too soon, and I'm that dude.
I'm up there." And me, one thing it is, before Floyd convinced me that it was him, to me it was Ali.
Yeah.
And no one could tell me nothing. But once I seen enough from Floyd, it was Floyd.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? And if it was more closer, I would be like how I am in basketball. It'll be Ali and Floyd. But it's Floyd to me. You know what I'm saying? And if Spence comes around that bend and he does what I think he could do, then I would have no problem putting him up there with him. I won't be like, well, they make an excuse. Because the way they did it, they really made Spence really got undisputed.
Yep.
He didn't get a Canelo undisputed. He ain't get an Usyk undisputed. Fighting people for vacant belts, fighting guys who aren't the original champion for belts they never held, and all type of shit they helped him along the way. Canelo and all. Spence got it the hard way.
Yeah.
He got 3 belts. He had to beat 3 champions to get him.
Exactly. Technically, if you go by boxing's old standards, he is undisputed because back in the day it was 3 belts. They just added this garbage ass WBO that really don't mean shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
They did that in the mid 90s. They added the WBO as a main belt that you needed to get, because it used to be 3 belts. So unofficially, So unofficially, Floyd's been undisputed, but just in that era, it was a 4-belt thing, and they used to always keep Floyd from that last belt.
Yep.
Through politics. But the reason why I would say Floyd pretty much is an undisputed fighter in my eyes, or better, because he was dominating 2 weight classes at the same time.
But he beat 2 undisputed. He beat 2 fighters that were undisputed because Baltimore lost to Zab Judah and Floyd beat Zab Judah.
No. Floyd beat Baltimore beat Zab Judah, but Floyd beat both of them.
Yeah.
Well, Floyd beat Baltimore, he was supposed to become undisputed then. But it was some politics shit. Somebody didn't pay a sanctioning fee, and the belts were just split up and shit. He was supposed to be undisputed after he won that fight. But he's the only person. He's the only person who ever fought 2 undisputed fighters back to back and dominated both fights. You know what I'm saying? So if Floyd dominated, he was dominating 2 weight classes at the same time. Spencer get undisputed. He get undisputed at 154. These are things that we can start talking about all time great shit in that creme of the creme, that 5%. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Crawford should hope for a quicker ending. The longer he lasts in this fight, the worse his body's gonna be.
You know who Earl gonna be? He gonna be Clubber Lang.
Yeah.
Because they asked Clubber Lang, what's the prediction? Pain. Pain. More pain. That's exactly what it's gonna be, man.
Damn.
This motherfucker gonna give him pain. I'm telling you.
And for the longest time, I was a kid when Mr. T was popular.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know Mr. T was from Chicago. I just watched everything he was in. 18, everything he was in, I watched. But I didn't know he's from Chicago, man. I didn't realize he was Chicago. I didn't realize that he was from Chicago until I became a grown man and I rewatched that Rocky movie. Yeah. That's some Chicago shit for your ass. When they said, what's your prediction? And he said, he looked at the camera and said, pain. That's some shit Chicago niggas will say. They can say so much or so little.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't have to elaborate. I'm doing this, man, body hard. It's going to be ugly in there. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's going to happen. It's going to be lopsided and it's going to be brutal.
Yeah.
Because Crawford don't know how to box going backwards. He got to come forward.
Yeah.
So he got to take this beating.
Man, he's a Chihuahua, man. And you know Chihuahuas, when they get cornered, boy. Don't be surprised that nigga start Chihuahua barking, though.
They start pissing on themselves. When the Chihuahua get cornered, they still be barking. They never stop barking. And they piss on themselves. They turn their head. That's what people not understanding, man.
Oh my god. Nigga gonna be pissing on himself. When Earl cut that ring off, dog, he gonna realize all this with the tongue. Man, that will get fucked up, boy. And I can see Earl talking shit to him too, boy. I want them to do the cam on it because I can see Earl talking shit. Where you going now, motherfucker? The ring's closed off. Nowhere to run, motherfucker.
When people don't realize this, the only reason why this fight is happening because Terence Crawford literally has nowhere to run.
Nowhere to run.
He's ducked so far to now ESPN had to put their foot on his neck. After he took that last fight, even ESPN was like, We're starting to think this is Butt Terence Crawford. They even had to put the foot on his neck and be like, bro, you
Because
gotta
Earl
make
did the
this fight.
smartest thing. You know what Earl did? Earl basically said, fuck it. I'm risking my boxing career. Because Earl means so much to today's boxing that if Earl just retires, the sport hurts drastically. And they don't want that. So he just said, fuck, I'm not going nowhere. I'm not moving up. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. I want this fucking fight. He basically handicapped them to where they had no choice but to make this shit happen.
They had no choice because boxing dictates. And boxing is ran as an oligarchy, man. It's not one person running boxing. It's a group of elite people who run boxing. You know what I'm saying? And if a fight's going to get made, you're going to make that fight or you're never going to fight again.
Yep.
I think they was able to make Ali and fucking who's his protege? Larry Holmes. Larry Holmes. He didn't want to fight Ali at that point in his career because he learned everything from Ali. He was potent and he know he could really hurt him. You know, I'm not. It's like he's fighting a regular dude. He's fighting me. I know everything about him, and he doesn't have his full faculties. This is not good. He had no choice. He had to make that fight, or else he wouldn't have made no other fights.
Exactly. He wouldn't have had the rest of a career. Something would have happened to him.
Right. That's how it goes.
I'm telling you, there was somebody that went behind closed doors, sat down at fucking Terence Crawford's house, and said, "Look here, motherfucker. I'm telling y'all what's happening." Ross know what I'm saying. People gonna think I'm lying.
Stop barking behind that fucking fence.
People gonna think I'm saying some weird outlandish shit. But this is boxing for real. This is the dark element of it. Somebody went to his house and said, "Look, if you don't fight, some motherfucker's gonna come up missing."
Right.
I'm telling you. Y'all think I'm playing?
Something's gonna happen.
Somebody went to his house and said, "Fuck all that ducking shit. There's too much fucking money to be made here. We don't give a fuck if you get fucked up. We gonna make sure you paid handsomely. We're gonna make sure you pay. We're gonna make the fight happen."
Mm-hmm.
So Ross, any closing thoughts?
Nah, I said all I had to say. I got off. Every point I wanted to make, I was able to make.
Okay, I said everything I had to say too, man. It's been real. It's been good. It's been easy. Y'all be easy.
Let me say one thing real quick. My bad for doing this. Listen, YouTube not fucking with a nigga like me. They ain't fucking with a nigga like him. Our content is too real, so they're not monetizing us. So these are cash apps right there. Anything is appreciated. You know
Exactly. Make sure y'all hit the donations, man. Cash App, Venmo. I mean, we have the banner up. You know, y'all wanted us back. Y'all been begging, but y'all, I don't see y'all bringing y'all pockets out. I got to a point where it's just like, you know, hey, donate to motivate. Don't donate. But at the end of the day, we're at a place where we've been asked to come back, and we're just gonna give you guys shit. I feel like with time, y'all just gonna contribute regardless, because it's a non-stop machine over there with Tom Ross. It's gonna be a non-stop machine with me starting up pretty soon now, because we're just re-energized and we have a lot of shit to say. So we appreciate you guys if you donate, but if you want me to be honest with y'all, they done fucked up and got us at the right time.
I gotta go, bro.
All right, be easy. Y'all take care. Peace.